Get right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dilla T. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Told you. I told you. Wow. Let's get into this here.
Oprah Winfrey is one of the most legendary talk show hosts ever, given the name of the queen of all media. Her talk show started all the way back in the 80s, and by the 90s, Oprah was one of the most watched people on TV. Her show lasted 25 years and led the way for her to become a billionaire through her multimedia ventures that included books, magazines, movies, and even an entire network. During the peak of her talk show in the 90s, Oprah would routinely draw in 13 to 14 million viewers on any given weekday. She had what seemed to be the entire world listening to her advice on anything from relationships to spiritual advice. This made Oprah one of the most influential people in the world, but the question is, what was she doing with that massive influence? What message was Oprah putting out through her hit show? What was she actually teaching her audience who watched her religiously? While many listened to Oprah for guidance, they failed to realize that she was guiding them away from the most important thing of all, God. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome to the Truthfish channel where I drop new videos every other day exposing the truth. In today's episode, I'm joined by my wife, Dee.
Hi everybody, I hope you guys are having a great day.
We're going to be talking about Oprah Winfrey and how she was used to push the New Age agenda. But before we begin, I just wanted to remind you guys to subscribe to my second channel, Truth Network, as the Truth team is working hard on new content that would only be available on the second channel. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new content. You can find the channel linked in the description of this video or in the comment section. Thank you all. Now let's get right into it. While Oprah today is one of the richest women in the world, her early upbringing was quite the opposite. Oprah was born in 1954 in Mississippi to a single teenage mother who was flat broke. She would end up being raised by her grandmother for the first 6 years of her life. She would eventually move back to her unstable mother, who was working as a maid trying to make ends meet. Later in Oprah's life, things got worse before they got better. She claims that she was SA'd by many of her own family members, starting when she was only 9 years old until her teenage years. Eventually, Oprah would overcome her struggles and rise way beyond anyone would have expected. While she was still a teenager attending high school, she managed to land a job at a radio station. By the age of 19, Oprah had her first break as she was hired to be the co-anchor of a local Nashville news station. This wouldn't last long, as she knew her calling was on TV. Shortly after her radio gig, she was cast for a talk show, AM Chicago, that was hosted by Dennis Swanson. In a few short months, the show's ratings went through the roof, proving Oprah was a possible star. This is when everything changed for Oprah, as a man by the name of Roger Ebert convinced her to sign a syndication deal for her own talk show called At the Movies. Roger told Oprah that she would make 40 times the amount of money she was making on the AM show. So Oprah signed the deal, and a talk show star was born. The show's name would end up being changed from At the Movies to the Oprah Winfrey Show, and not long after, it was a massive hit. Oprah went from a mistreated, impoverished child to the world's most influential media personality in the world. It is no doubt that Oprah is the biggest name in talk show media ever. Her show changed the perspective of millions and was one of the most impactful talk shows yet to date. The only problem is Oprah used all that influence for all the wrong reasons. Her massive platform was being used to push the New Age religion agenda that has led so many away from God into the corruption of self-worship. While Oprah claims to be a Christian, she has on many occasions shown that she is not. She has used her massive show to push this New Age religion, or the religion of the Age of Horus. The New Age movement, or the New Age religion, started to rise up in the 1970s. The religion saw rejection of the authority of religious sects and the idea that spiritual awakening can be achieved through the exploration of an individual's self, essentially implying that Jesus is not needed for a person's salvation. It teaches that each person is the source of their own salvation. In 2024, so many people identify as New Agers, people who follow this New Age movement. They buy books that teach them mostly occult beliefs and try to achieve what Oprah called herself as Christ consciousness. when a human becomes enlightened and ascends to a level of a god. While so many people are attracted to this New Age movement because of what it offers, very little of its followers know its true origin. Even though the modern New Age movement started seeing its rise in the 70s and then reached this peak in the 2010s, its actual start goes back to a woman from the 1800s called Helena Blavatsky. Helena was a mystic occultist and the founder of the Theosophical Society. The Theosophical Society is known to have laid down the foundation of the New Age movement, with much of his beliefs coming directly from Madame Blavatsky. What many people don't know is that Blavatsky was the occultist who actually inspired Aleister Crowley to become the monster he became. So just imagine that. In 1877, Blavatsky published Isis Unveiled, and this book will go on to shape the beliefs of the modern New Age movement. She proclaimed in her book that enlightenment was a synthesis of science, religion, and philosophy, proclaiming that it was reviving an ancient wisdom which underlay all the world's religions. Helena believed God was the forces of nature. Now, if you've seen my last few videos, you would have heard me talking about the Age of Horus. The Age of Horus and the New Age movement are the exact same thing. The New Age movement is the rebranding of the Age of Horus. They tried to remove the occult aspect of it and present it to the world as a spiritual key to enlightenment. The goddess Isis is the mother of Horus, and she is connected to the Age of Horus. Now you can see why Helena called the book Isis Unveiled. The goddess Isis plays an important role in the Age of Horus, and Blavatsky's book was used to establish the Age of Horus beliefs. Helena was a straight-up Satanist, and these are some of the things she was quoted saying about Lucifer. She stated, "It is Satan who is the god of our planet, and the only god." And in another quote, she is quoted saying, "And now it stands proven that Satan, or the red fiery dragon, the lord of phosphorus, and Lucifer or light-bearer, is in us. It is our mind." The New Age movement she created saw Lucifer as its god, and now we have millions claiming to be New Agers. What Blavatsky taught was the same thing that Lucifer taught, self-worship. She claims that we decide our own fate, not God. We decide our own salvation. So many lost souls are following this, not knowing they're truly following Lucifer's beliefs, who first said the same to Adam and Eve all those years ago. Blavatsky plays an important role in the occult. Crowley was a massive fan of Blavatsky. He admired her work and she inspired him. The same year Helena created the Theosophical Society was the same year Crowley was born, and he loved that. Crowley thought Helena was a genuine messenger of the fallen gods he himself worshipped. Crowley would end up meeting Helena's successor, Annie Besant. As the New Age movement started to grow in the 90s and the early 2000s, one massive talk show host pushing it was Oprah. A little known fact about Oprah is that her real name is not Oprah, but Orpah, a name that comes directly from the Bible in the Book of Ruth. In the Book of Ruth, Oprah is presented in the story of Naomi, and she represents a path that's chosen that led to eternal consequences. In this article, it states this about Orpah. At times we choose the familiar, more comfortable route, and other times we embrace the unexplored way and trust God to lead. We follow the familiar or follow God. One path can lead away from God, and the other takes us towards God into his loving, caring, and protection. In the Book of Ruth, we meet two sisters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth, who choose different paths. One towards God, the other returned to familiar people and gods. Orpah chose the familiar path, while Ruth chose the faithful way. This is exactly what Oprah is doing, leading souls away from God. Oprah presented herself as a New Age Christian. She claims to be Christian but preach confusion. According to Oprah, you don't need Jesus to go to heaven. Just like the New Age movement, she claims the path is within us. In this video, Oprah can be seen claiming that even though she is a Christian, she doesn't believe Jesus is the only way to salvation. She then goes on to claim that Jesus didn't come down to die on the cross for our sins, but instead to teach us how to achieve Christ consciousness.
I'm a Christian who believes that there are certainly many more paths to God other than Christianity. I'm a free-thinking Christian who believes in my way, but I don't believe that it's the only way. What I believe is that Jesus came to show us Christ consciousness.
My question is to you, Oprah, how have you reconciled these spiritual teachings with your Christian beliefs?
I reconciled it because I was able to open my mind about the absolute indescribable hugeness of that which we call God. I took God out of the box because I grew up in the Baptist church and there were, rules and, belief systems and doctrine. And I love this quote that Eckhart has. This is one of my favorite quotes in chapter 1, where he says, "Man made God in his own image. The eternal, the infinite, and unnameable was reduced to a mental idol that you had to believe in and worship as my God or our God." Now, I think that's very eloquently put by Eckhart Tolle in chapter 1. And, it's been a journey to get to the place where I understand, as I said on the pre-show here, that what I believe is that Jesus came to show us Christ consciousness, that Jesus came us to show us the way of the heart, and that what Jesus was saying, that to show us the higher consciousness that we're all talking about here. Jesus came to say, look, I'm going to live in the body, in the human body, and I'm going to show you how it's done. In my belief, even as a Christian, I don't believe that Jesus came to start Christianity. The new spirituality is that you are your own best authority. As you work to know and love yourself, you discover how to live a more spiritual life. The old is God and the path to worship him have already been defined. All you need to do is follow the directions. The new is being able to listen within your own definition of spirituality. Your deeper longings are your compass on the search. And the old says exactly what Eckhart was saying, that there's only one path. It's the right way and all other ways are wrong. And the new spirituality says that many paths lead to spiritual freedom and peace. You have a rich array of gems from which you draw illumination. The world's religious traditions, mythology, psychology, healing methods, scientific wisdom, your own experience, and that you can begin to string a necklace all your own. Then she lists, other old and new.
As you heard for yourself, Oprah talks about reaching God on many different paths, and how she achieved Christ consciousness. Well, let's see what Oprah means by Christ consciousness. If we Google Christ consciousness, we get this Wikipedia article that states, higher consciousness, also called expanded consciousness, is a term that has been used in various ways to label a particular state of consciousness or personal development. It may be used to describe a state of liberation from the limitations of self-concept or ego, as well as a state of mystical experience in which the perceived separation between the isolated self and the world or God is transcended. It may also refer to the state of increased alertness or awakening to a new perspective. While the concept has ancient roots, practices, and techniques, it has been significantly developed as a central notion in contemporary popular spirituality, including the New Age movement. As we can see, Christ consciousness or higher consciousness is reaching enlightenment, a godlike state. We also see that it's directly tied to the New Age movement. Oprah, who claims to be a Christian, is promoting New Age propaganda that was created by Blavatsky, who was a straight-up Satanist. It's not hard to see what Oprah was preaching was the same message as Blavatsky. In another video, we can see Oprah arguing with someone on her talk show about Jesus not being the only way to salvation.
The panel has been discussing the spirituality and the forces of God, but I also believe that there are two forces that are here with us, that we do have our God that we can depend on, but there's also a power of darkness that we do need to be aware of. And that's where the choice
Do you believe that you can choose between one or the other?
Most absolute, definitely.
Yeah. Now, Marianne Williamson says in her book, Return to Love, that we're always walking in the direction of one or the other, that all of your actions in life, either you're moving toward the darkness or you're moving toward the light.
That's right.
She calls it fear and love. There's a wonderful book called Ishmael by Daniel Quinn, which is, anyway, it's a gorilla talking. Anyway, it talks about, one of the points it brings out is one of the mistakes that human beings make is believing that there is only one way to live.
That's
and
right.
that we don't accept that there are diverse ways of being in the world, that there are millions of ways to be a
Then
human
how do you
being.
plead God?
And many paths to what you call God.
That
and
is
her path
crazy.
might be something else, and when she gets there, she might call it the light. But her loving and her kindness and her generosity brings her, if it brings her the same point that it brings you, it doesn't matter whether she called it God along the way or
And
not.
I guess the danger that could be in that, I mean, it sounds great on the onset, but if you really look at both sides, I
There
could be a
couldn't
person.
possibly be just one way. What about Jesus? What about Jesus?
And you say there isn't only one way. There is one way and only one way, and that is through Jesus.
There couldn't possibly be.
Because you say there isn't.
Couldn't possibly be.
Because you say, you intellectualize it and say there isn't. If you don't believe that, you're all buying into the lie.
Do you think that if you are somewhere on the planet, if you're somewhere on the planet and you never hear the name of Jesus, you never hear the name of Jesus, but yet you live with a loving heart, you lived as Jesus would have had you to live, you lived for the same purpose that Jesus came to the planet to teach us all, but you are in some remote part of the earth and you never heard the name of Jesus, you cannot get to heaven, you think?
And that's covered in the scriptures too. People have talked about that.
God knows the
Does
heart.
God care about your heart, or does God care about you call his son Jesus?
Well, Oprah, Jesus can't come back until that gospel is preached in the four corners of this earth. So, figure it out.
Okay, I can't get into a religious argument with you.
It's not.
As you heard for yourself, Oprah again claims that Jesus isn't the only way to salvation, that there's multiple ways, even appearing upset when Jesus was mentioned. In another video, she even states something again that I found interesting.
I think that it's great that someone like Oprah, who's successful, has to pave the way for acceptance in the community. I mean, if this is what we have to do to break down barriers, then let's do it.
That's what you think. What do you think?
I
I've seen it in the Bible. It clearly states that homosexuality is wrong. And I bet you are a powerful woman and you have done so much. And if you are going to represent yourself as a Christian, and then you're going to go on the show and say that you also support that, it's double standarding.
Well, I have a different view of Christian than you do. Okay? And the God I serve doesn't care whether you're tall or short, or whether you were born black or Asian or gay. And so that's just a difference of belief. And I don't expect to change your belief today, because just before I came down here, I'm late today because I was in the makeup room arguing with somebody who was telling me how all gay people are, now I'm going with all the other gay people for doing the show. I take full responsibility for my going to hell or heaven. I take full responsibility, and I feel that everybody who's concerned about me now going to hell because I'm doing the Ellen DeGeneres show, I think that you all should take that energy and try to create a little heaven here on earth for everybody. And I take full responsibility for it. And if Ellen says she's gay, I believe God created her gay. I believe God did that.
You can't.
As you heard for yourself, Oprah claims that the God she serves doesn't judge those that are gay, while I myself do not judge those that are gay, as I believe if a person is gay or not doesn't affect me. It is a personal choice and it's between themselves and God. But we all know that in the Bible it does state that it's not accepted in the eyes of God. According to Oprah, the God she serves doesn't consider it a sin. I wonder what God she is referring to. This clearly lets you know Oprah isn't worshiping the same God as the Christians. She is serving the God of the New Age movement that Blavatsky, the mother of the New Age movement, stated was Lucifer. In another video, we can see Oprah mocking God while she was attending the Late Show of Colbert. During her appearance, at a certain point, we can see them show a video of God talking to Oprah.
Oprah, Steven, what's up? Hey!
Oh, hey, it's Scott, everybody. Give it up for the Lord. I'm sorry about this, Oprah. I apologize. God stops by while he's a fan. Can I, Lord? I'm kind of in the middle of talking to somebody important.
As you saw for yourself again, we saw the same energy coming from Oprah, who we know sees herself as a god. Oprah got this big because she was being used to push this New Age religion needed for the Age of Horus. Her show was created to guide the world to the Age of Horus beliefs, and it worked.
You know what's interesting is that what Oprah did in the 90s and in the 2000s, Joe Rogan is doing today. I noticed that Rogan also pushes that New Age propaganda on his massive platform. He literally denounced Jesus and pushed this New Age idea that, like you said, came from Blavatsky. There's actually a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast in which Joe questions the existence of Jesus and mocks those who believe in him.
At the end of the day, with no proof, everything is mythology. Everything. With no proof. With proof, and you examine the proof. It's super simple. And anybody that argues against that is you're just biased. You have your own ideas. Some proof that there was a God, that this God had one son, made the son come down and get beat out of him and nailed to a board so that we could all have no sin. Can you show me some studies? Do you have a box of evidence that you can pull out and we can examine all the different pieces that points to the undeniable conclusion that that's true? If you don't, then it's a myth. Then you're believing.
Okay, cool. Now, think about this real quick. You in here with your boy Dealatofficial, my fam. This is No Filters. Hit that like button, double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap that screen. If you coming in here and you ain't even said nothing, speak, fam, when you come into the house. You understand what I'm saying? Never forget, you see the Cash App, you see the Super Chat, the raffle always is in the building. The raffle always in the building. Never forget, one woman, one man definitely gonna win a No Filters t-shirt or No Filters hoodie. Signed by your boy Dealatofficial, sponsored by Nene Love Savvy TV in the building always. Understand something real quick. Now, what you listening to is a situation about Oprah. How her life created, how she started, and her whole agenda. Starting from the beginning to now. Now, I stopped this because if you listen to what he just said, which is really diabolical, by the way, okay? It's truly diabolical. If you listen to what he said, he just said, and this is what's really eager to me about people when it comes to like the name of Jesus, because they challenge it so hard, but yet they don't challenge the name of Satan or Lucifer, because they won't see, hear me, man, hear me. You don't hear that same energy when it comes to that. Because if he challenges Jesus' name, why is he not challenging other religions as well? Because when it comes to Lucifer or Satan, why he not saying, hey, just listen to what he just said. Why he not got this same energy for Lucifer or Satan? And that's why I don't understand them. Because if y'all stand on that business and y'all believe in that business, then why can't you bring forth the same evidence that you're pleading for Jesus? Listen to this energy. Just think in your head, why is he not saying it about Satan, Lucifer, other religions outside of Jesus? Why is the name of Jesus so targeted?
Doesn't mean it's not real. If you put that...
You know what's interesting is that what Oprah did in the 90s and in the 2000s, Joe Rogan is doing today. I noticed that Rogan also pushes that new age propaganda on his massive platform. He literally denounced Jesus and pushed this new age idea that, like you said, came from Blavatsky. There's actually a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast in which Joe questions the existence of Jesus and mocks those who believe in him.
At the end of the day, with no proof, everything is mythology. Everything. With no proof. With proof, and you examine the proof. It's super simple. And anybody that argues against that is just, you're just biased. You have your own ideas. Some proof that there was a God, that this God had one son, made the son come down and get beat out of him and nailed to a board so that we could all have no sin. Can you show me some studies? Do you have a box of evidence that you can pull out and we can examine all the different pieces that points to the undeniable conclusion that that's true? If you don't, then it's a myth. Then you're believing mythology. Doesn't mean it's not real. If you put all your eggs in that basket and you don't have any proof at all, well, you're entering into this weird world where you don't pay attention to it. You're entering into this weird world where you ignore certain aspects of things because you've decided what is and what isn't. That's not thinking. That's like, it's convenient cookie holder placement of ideas. It's not thinking. Because if you're thinking, you can't accept it. If you're thinking, you go, wait, what? He came back from the dead? Has anybody ever done that? 3 days? Came back from the dead. I don't think you can do that. I mean, that's what people would do normally. My kid had a function today, and I went to this function, and we're singing God Bless America, and there's like something about heaven in there, and there's school prayer. I'm like, well, okay, are we teaching people? We're teaching kids things, right? What's heaven? Where's this? Is this a real thing? Are we just pretending heaven's real so the kids feel good and they can get 12th grade? What are we doing here? What are we doing? We have to make up about stuff that we don't know instead of just accepting what we do know. Instead of just celebrating and accepting what we know about life, we have to pretend that there's a heaven and you're going to go to heaven when you die. What are you talking about? You're teaching my kid nonsense. Why don't you teach him some Rumpelstiltskin? Why don't you make some shit up about leprechauns? You're making it up about heaven. I'm not saying heaven doesn't exist, but you're just making it up. You're teaching a school, in a class. You're making them, and then in heaven, God in heaven. God in heaven? Where's heaven? Who's God? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're making up some in a school, and you don't, okay, like if the kid comes to you, like, where is heaven on a map? Can you take me to, do we have a Google Earth? Can we check out heaven? Can I see the harp?
This right here is exactly what the New Age religion is pushing. They're telling you to question Christ and follow your will. All of the teachings that come from Blavatsky and Crowley. It's obvious what Oprah is doing. And it's sad that so many women got misguided by her. I remember how popular Oprah was when I was growing up, and just about half of the women I knew look up to her, and little did they know that she was guiding them away from God, pushing this new age nonsense that went on to confuse many of the millions that followed her.
That's a great point when it comes to Joe Rogan. I would definitely agree with you there. Joe Rogan is one of the biggest podcasters in the world, if not the biggest, and like with Oprah, he was seen as this giant in the space and received the most money out of the podcast industry. And you're right, I made a video on Rogan months back, and it was exactly what he was pushing, this new age movement, this new age agenda. He was mocking Christ, making fun of Jesus, making fun of those who follow Jesus, and pushing this idea, just like Oprah, about this enlightenment, about worshiping self and reaching higher consciousness. Because this is the religion of the new age. This is the religion of the age of Horus. They have to bring it in. And how do they have people follow this? By having the biggest, most influential people make it look appealing and pushing it onto the masses. So many people became new agers because of watching Joe Rogan's podcast. They followed him now like many followed Oprah back then. And it's sad because they do not know what they're truly following. These people are puppets. They're being made to push this agenda. This is their job. They're put in positions to brainwash the masses. And it's sadly what's going on as so many people proclaim this new age movement as what they believe in.
Oprah was one of the Masonic puppets that benefited from the Maui situation that happened last year. It was reported last year that Oprah was one of the celebrities taking advantage of the Maui fires and buying up land that she couldn't previously get. We know that Maui situation was a way for these elites to get the land that they wanted. This isn't something I think. This is something those in Maui that dealt with the situation felt. We know a person doesn't make it to that level that she made it to without selling out and becoming a puppet. And that's exactly what she is. A puppet that guided millions to a false religion.
Yeah, she is definitely a Masonic puppet. And we saw that with the Dave Chappelle appearance on her show, when When Dave Chappelle was rebelling against the industry years back, Oprah invited him on her show and tried to shut him up and make him look crazy. When Dave was explaining to Oprah what the industry really was, she seemed to act in denial and dismissive towards him. It's obvious that she's a puppet like all the rest. She pushes the false religion to the masses. And as we can see, the only reason they made Oprah what she is to push this new age agenda using a relatable face. Sadly, so many people were misguided by Oprah to follow this false religion. But for those that were misguided, there's still time while you're walking this earth to turn back to God and find salvation. Well, that's it for this video. But before you guys go, I just wanted to ask you to like, comment, and share this video so that it would be recommended to others. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Goodbye, everybody. I hope you guys have a great day.
That's crazy.
The Weeknd, Playboy Cardi, and Madonna just dropped a brand new music video yesterday for their song Popular. This was a collab that...
And see, this is a big thing you gotta understand, fam, that hit different, right? Because in this situation, what you looking at is, you looking at Oprah, man. You looking at how she persuade the minds of weak-minded people. You have to understand. And then this crazy part is that she's being challenged about what she's believing in and the false teaching she's trying to teach. You have people in the crowd that actually know what they're talking about, and they can challenge that. Okay? And even when they challenge it and they're right on what they're saying, she's like, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you about religion because that's what I believe in. You see that? When you shut them down, that's when they start talking about, oh, you know, I ain't going to argue with you, fam, about it. You know, woo-woo-wop this and woo-woo-wop that. You see what I'm saying? And that plays a big role because only people...
Doesn't want to go to college. I need you to woo her.
You want me to date your daughter?
We'll write you a recommendation letter to MIT.
Date your daughter.
We'll write you.
Even people that ain't even making no sense, fam, is really what the problem is when they come down to it. We talking about people that just ain't making no sense. You hear me? That's what we talking about, fam. People that just ain't... When you don't make no sense... And when you don't stand for nothing, you know they're going to make you fall for anything. We know that. Because that's just an automatic. We know that if you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And even in those days, look at it. And Oprah, that was over 20 years ago. That was Oprah back over 20 years ago, fam. You understand what I'm talking about here? That was Oprah, Lori in the building. That was 20 years ago, fam. So when we looking at situations like that, we talking about how Oprah been built for this. She been built for this. Like been made this what it's supposed to be. People been looked into this situation.
And 20.
So you got.
Our next guest reviews.
Check this out. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You gonna learn something today. You know you in here with your boy Dilla T. Double tap that screen, subscribe. It's free, fam. Become a member. We're here to save your life. You become a member. Because again, we're here to bring light to darkness. We're here to inform, understand, be aware. If it walk like a, talk like a, you know what it is. And it's definitely a duck. We know that on that level, the millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, cajillionaires, zillionaires have an excuse. They're always covered up for everything. But it's funny how, again, things are still coming to the light. You never thought Diddy would be locked up. You never thought Jay-Z would be under pressure. You never thought Tyler Perry would be being called by the same men that look the same, that's saying that he is S.A.N.M. You never thought these things. But now you're talking about people like Oprah. See, people like Oprah, you never knew the names that would come out the Epstein files. But yet now, you see, Oprah started it. She's still around. And even she can still duck and hide and do all of that. But at the end of the day, we're going to bring light to darkness. And the darkness going to be shined down. Because at the end of the day, she's sitting there telling you, as they all do, is to believe in yourself. When Joe Rogan says, and follow me real quick. When Joe Rogan says, hold up, what we doing? Y'all in school teaching my kids about God, bless America, in heaven and hell. And he is saying that if your kid is at school and they question and come up to the teacher like, okay, can you take me to heaven? Where God at? Can I go there with him? And the teacher's like, well, no, we go there when you not here anymore. See, now it opens up doors for teachings to kids. And now you find yourself looking at a parent, or a parent is looking at a teacher like, hold up, what are you teaching my kid? See, that's what's going on today. Because the time we come from was what your mother is, that is you. What your family believes in, that's what you believe in. Why? Because where your mama went is where you had to go. And that was whatever church she believed in. Muslim or even Christianity. So the point I'm making is, I get Joe's Rogan position in that, because today and age, kids need to know. That is a very real thing. They need to know what's going on. But the thing is that they want to give kids choice of their own, even at an age that they don't even know how to make a choice for their own self. Let me say that again. They trying to make our kids make a choice eternally for themselves, and they can't even make a decision for themselves today, right now. That's the problem I have. Our kids are too young to be in a position to make a choice that you know can be influenced. Because all choices in kids' positions are by being influenced or being told sternly, this is what it is. You can influence a child's decision, and the decision is made because of your influence. Why? They have no direction. Without direction, they have nothing to stand on. So what? They fall for anything. Let's put it together. Let's not play dumb here. Don't play dumb here. Let's act like we know what we're saying. Shout out to Versace with the $2 donation in the super chat. Let's get it popping. You better hear me when I say like I said. Because kids have nothing to stand on, because you have to understand, children are always in learning positions. We all are in learning positions, but it becomes a time where there's an age where learning is all that is happening. Why? They need to know how to learn how to eat, breathe, sleep, use the potty, talk, communicate, walk. See, these are those things that we all have to learn. So how in the hell are you giving my child a position of power to make a decision for themselves if they can't even know how to talk? They want to tell a kid in school, well, because we know we can like the same sex, or because we know we can do the desires of our heart, or the lust of the eye, or the lust of the flesh. They want a child to have options. And they know to the desire, they know to the inspired mind, they know to the uneducated mind, to the weak-minded, they know the options are more eager when you have nothing. Let me say that again for somebody in the back. Options are more eager when you have nothing. For a child, options is everything. You put options in front of a child and they don't even know how to act. Why? Because they don't know. So when they see, they're like, oh, wow. Ooh, this looks good. That looks good. That might be good. I think I want that one. No, I might want this. You know what? I want all of it. That's a child. And I think we have to make sure we understand why we have to get a direction and move. You have to make a decision to understand why you must make your child believe what you believe and stay right there in that place. The world is here to give your child a stage. The world is here to give your child options. The world is here to make your child want it all. See, that's the problem, Shireen. Shout out to Lloyd with the $5 donation in the super chat. You know it's love, always. Remember, always, only is love, Lori. Shireen Ann says, they're learning how to battle spirituality and emotionally in a chaotic world that has no boundaries or consequences. That's the problem, Shireen. They ain't learning. See, they hearing about it, they seeing it, but they not learning. You understand? They're not learning anything. They have no direction of how to battle spirituality, spiritual warfare, emotion. No, they have nothing. No, they have not a piece of a teacher teaching them about spiritual warfare, emotional warfare, none of the above. All they see is chaos, and they see no one ruling. See, they know school, a teacher, and a principal. They know rules and they know consequences. What they see is chaos, no teacher, they see rules, but no consequences. And that is the issue. That is the world. That is the kids that we see today. That is the learning. That is how you know they have no place to even understand. Brandy in the building. That's how you know they don't know nothing. Because at the end of the day, they sin and they don't know. So again, to target a child that doesn't know, or to give a child options that don't really know what they should be doing, they're going to want it all. And there's something in those options that is bad for them, good for them, great for them. The worst thing, if they do this, they dead. And all of it is chaos. See, a child has to have a starting point. We all had a starting point. You come in the world, this is who you're with, this is what your people are doing, this is what you do. That's your starting point. You come in and say, hey, this is the way it goes. This is the way it is. This is this if this is happening. This is who you call if this happens. But today you're coming in the world with no starting point. They coming in, and kids that are 8 have the mind of a 15-year-old. Why? Because of the options. And that is where we fall. That is where we fail our kids. You continue to want your child to smile. You continue to want your child to want you. You continue to want your child to just want to be. You doing it in a manner of kissing ass, but yet you're not doing it in a manner of parenting and direction. There's no greater deed done to your child than raising them in the ways that when they depart from the church, they will come back and know what it is. There's no greater deed that you can do. It's a reason why we teaching the kids a certain way, so when they leave, they have foundation. Does your kid have foundation? Somebody got to tell somebody, no, don't do that. Somebody got to say, no, I don't care about none of that. This ain't cool. Somebody got to stop somebody. It's so funny because even my kids, even with like my 2-year-old, my baby, my kids, and she just has got so much energy and just into everything. You hear me? As cute as can be, Lord, I thank you for it. But you know what's crazy? I'm the one to say no all the time. Even she can see me coming and look at me and know that she about to put something down, even if it's in her hand. She can see me coming and she, oh. That's just seeing me coming. I ain't even got to say nothing. It's just, I see me coming. She just see me coming. It's just no. What you doing? Nah. What's going on? What you doing? No. Go sit down. No. Go sit down. Go sit down. No. 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 Go sit. Stop. No. Stop. No. Stop. Go sit down. 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 No. You know what's sad about that? And what's great about that? She gonna thank God later that she got that no. Go sit down. No. Stop. Go sit down. She gonna thank God for that. Because what I'm doing is training the conscious, the subconscious, of what will always be there in any situation that she walk into at this age. Because when I'm not around, she gonna have to hear my voice say, no, go sit down. She gonna walk into something, look at something, and she gonna make a decision right there. And that voice that always right there, no, go sit down. No, stop, go sit down. It's gonna just program. That's what we gotta do with our kids. And I don't think we got repetitions to understand. You got people like Oprah that then looked her damn name up in the Bible, seen herself as the opposition, as evil, as darkness, and named herself that, changed her name, and then came out to the world with a philosophy from Albert Pike. Do as thou wilt. What? The world seen her, held on, grabbed her, hugged her, lost their mind, had no direction. And see, understand something. They know how much of the world has no direction. Let me tell you how they find out how they know who ain't got no direction. They'll just plant a seed. And people will come water with it. And they watch it grow. That's all they do. That's how they find out if you got foundation. That's how they find out if you stupid. That's how they find out if you slow. That's how they find out if you lacking love. That's how they find out if you lacking emotion, if you ain't got no family. That's how they find out if you just did something and lost your mind. That's how they find out about you. They just plant a seed. And it's so sad because just like the Lord plant a seed, one water with, and one watch it grow. And that's exactly what they do in the world to find out how we is and how we living and how we coming and how we going. They just plant seeds. And we just come by and water them. And they just sit back and watch it grow. And that's how they find out, okay, well, this is stupid. This how many stupid people over here. You better hear me, Chris. They do that. They plant a seed, stupid seed, a dumb seed, a crazy seed, a violent seed, a drug seed, a domestic seed, a stripper seed, an evil seed. They just come by. Somebody hear me. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Somebody hear me right now. I feel like somebody hear me right now. This is one of the moments I feel like somebody hear me. This for somebody. See, this might not be for you, but you listening, but this be for somebody. Because this is how lost we are. That what I'm saying is literally for somebody's. They plant these seeds. And we pick that seed. We pick our seed. That's all we do. We just pick a seed. And we start watering that thing down. And that's how they find out what you like, Lori. That's how they find out what you don't like, Lori. That's how they find out what you into, Lori. That's how they find out where you been, Julian. That's how they find out what you've been doing, Julian, what Julian like to do when Julian do it. And see, that's when they find out about you, Brandy. That's when they find out what you did this morning. That's when they find out, they know when you always on Facebook. See, that's when they find out about you, Chris. How long you at work, when you getting off. Why? Because they just plant seeds that they know you gonna water and put your attention on. And when they do that, they say, oh, we got them. This how many stupid, this how many dumb, this how many smart, this how many intelligent, this how many theorists, this how many people that don't even care. This how many people we finna kill just because they have nothing to live for. You sitting back telling me you the smartest in the box. You the sharpest knife in the drawer. That's what you telling me. And you didn't know that? You've been sitting here watering all their seeds. And they just want to know what you like and what you don't. So they can get you out the way. Because you in the way. Tell somebody you in the way. Woo! That's a shirt, Chris. Tell somebody you in the way. Oh, man, listen, bruh, you in the way. Sherry Ann, you tell some, you in the way. You better tell somebody you in the way. I want to see it in here. I want to write it down, take a picture. You better tell somebody tomorrow you in the way. Whoever in the house with you right now, you better listen to me. They see you as you in the way. And if you in the way because you ain't making noise trying to change something, if you in the way wasting time, if you in the way, are you in the way on purpose? Are you in the way for purpose? Are you in the way for purpose? Because I want you to know you in the way. Somebody need to tell somebody you in the way. There's so many ways to go, but when you in the way, is it for purpose? Or are you in the way for reason? Or are you in the way for meaning? Or are you in the way hit that black boy. You better hit that like button, double tap that screen if you ain't in the way. You better hear me. If you in the way, it better be for a reason. If you in the way, it better be good. If you in the way, you better be benefiting somebody. Are you in the way for purpose? Because they see you as just in the way and they got to get you out the way. They after our kids. Are you in the way? They after your child. Are you in the way? Hit that like button, double tap that screen right now. Like this. You like it. Ask you. You gonna wake up tomorrow and tell us about you in the way. You in the way. Yeah, you in the way. And you gonna find out who in the way. You got to start seeing who in the way. You finna start opening your eyes. See the starting point. start telling people you in the way. You grown. You got all that mouth, but you can't tell nobody you in the way.
Guest was used also in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals, diabolism. What kinds of things went on in the family?
Out of all of the people that we have exposed on this channel, this woman right here is the most low-key demonic one of them all, bruh. And it's honestly crazy that I don't see more videos exposing her. Now we're about to hop into this video. I am doing a cash giveaway. If you guys want to be a part of the giveaway, it's very simple. All you have to do is leave a like on this video, share it to one person, and then comment the keyword that's going to be shown throughout this video. And I'm going to be cash apping people $100. Literally. All you have to do is those three things. Leave a like, share, and then comment the keyword down below along with your cash app. And I'm going to be cash apping random people $100 each. But with that being said, we're about to hop into this video titled Oprah is Not Who You Think She Is. Let's get into it, y'all.
Oprah Winfrey was not friends with Jeffrey Epstein. She never went to a Diddy party, and somehow throughout every controversy she ever faced over her 40-year career, it was merely just a misunderstanding and she was completely innocent of any wrongdoing. Well, that's the official narrative. Whether she was platforming horrific offenders, exploiting victims for content, diverting attention away from Harvey Weinstein's crimes, starting a school in South Africa for young girls who ended up being abused by the employees,
bro, Harvey Weinstein is Oprah Winfrey's best bud, bro. I ain't gonna lie, her best pal.
Or her terrible Hawaii charity, the official narrative is always that Oprah was just trying to do the right thing and unfortunately it just didn't work out. But for some reason, if you scour across the internet, you will find that so many people think the billionaire is shady, hiding something, or potentially evil, which is the polar opposite of the mainstream opinion that she is a deeply empathetic woman who is extremely charitable with her money. So today we're going to deep dive into Oprah Winfrey's career and the controversies that kept getting reframed as misunderstandings, because at a certain point the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Oprah became both the youngest person and the first black.
Now let's be real, we're gonna get right back to it. I like what Sherry Ann said. Make sure you become a member, Sherry Ann. But I like Fam said, I wonder if they even fear hell. Now let me say this. When you believe in it and you're of it and you glorify it, they don't see hell as a bad place. They see it as greatness, as we see heaven. Let me say that again. They don't view it how we view it. Why? Because they believe in it. They see heaven as the true place, as they see hell as the true place to end up forever, as in how we do see heaven. So when you're looking at talking about do they fear hell? No, they invite hell. Because to them, that is the true love. That is the true place to be, because that's what they believe in. Now, this is how you know some of them fake it. They couldn't even stand in the fiery kitchen for a second. They can't even be on stage when the flames is bursting, just showing an entertainment concert. They can't even take them flames. And you talking about they can take eternal fire. Oh no, trust and believe they can't. But yet they talk about it because they ain't felt it. Oh, hear me today. See, you better hear me. You know how many people talk about stuff, but ain't felt none of it, don't know nothing about it, but talking like they've been on it. Talking like they've been through it. Talking like they felt what those things do. But see, they talk like that because they doing all this worship here on top of land where fire ain't nowhere in they reach. They doing demonic things, but yet they still are not in the pit. It's a difference. See, being in the fireplace and being in the pit, you better know what type of fire you're dealing with. What? And then when they're talking about getting burned and burning eternally, So this is just, you know, to a regular mind that don't know nothing, or even us, right? Because we ain't all that. You can just hear that and make it sound like, dang, like, hold on, fam. Like, you can get burnt on the stove. Females can be doing their hair with the hot iron, whatever. Because back in the day, females do their hair, burn their ear, side, face, all that, right? Cool. But think about that hot iron pressed on your ear and just sitting on there for a whole day. What? You lighten a blunt and you'd have burnt your fingertip and you, ooh. But let that thing be sitting on that fingertip for a whole day. You can't take that, and you think you can take what you read about? Folk be in here acting real demonic or acting real gothica. Black nails, black this, black that. But can't fathom what real darkness is. Aha! Funny how the fake fraudulent. I was finna break a bar down right there. I ain't lying. Funny how the fake fraudulent can't handle the heat of a fever. How the funny fake fraudulent can't handle the heat of a fever. But talk like y'all can, man, you can't handle that. So stop talking like you about that. But you talk like that on this earth surface so you can get this money. You talk like you about that action with yours truly of Satan and darkness, but you scared when the lights go off. But you swear you're standing on darkness business. You swear you're a hell raiser. But you ready to go in the house when the street lights come on. When it get dark outside, you ready to go in the house. You better know who you live. Boy, you better listen to me. I'm telling you, because even the people that think they believe in what they believe in still don't need. You ain't even strong in your belief. So that's why, to me, I challenge these people that believe in what they believe in. I challenge so many. Because I'm like, if that's what you believe in, then why you ain't walking in that? Why you don't indulge in darkness? Why you ain't just sitting by the fire and just letting your leg burn? Why you can't take fire? Huh? You should have a bunch of burn marks. Boy, you should be 2nd degree burn walking out here, walking through life just high, because you in love with the fire. See, God said, I haven't given you the spirit of fear. That's a different than darkness. See, we all afraid when the light go off. Many of us, let me not say all of us, many of us. But see, the real regular mind of a human is afraid when the lights go off. We are afraid to be alone. That is a natural human instinct that came with us when we came in the world as babies. Did you think we came in the world okay being alone? Or you stupid? You think we came in the world being okay in darkness when the light goes off as a baby sitting there on the bed? You think they just gonna sit there and just be okay? Babies have to go to sleep to know that it ain't darkness. So that lets you further know that we did not come in the world with darkness. And we are not okay being alone. We never have been. We have had to train ourselves. We've had to go to sleep when it's dark because we don't like the darkness. Oh, somebody heard me today. Somebody listening right now. Somebody felt what I just said. We got to go in when it get dark. We need light when it's too much darkness. We are not naturally okay with being alone. We have been trained to go through this. We have been trained to be okay with darkness. We have trained ourselves on how to live in the darkness. because we still are living and still exist. But the reason why I'm telling you that that was something that was placed upon us, not something that we grew, not something that we was born with. You need to understand the difference about why darkness has never existed or mattered. The light shows the difference about why darkness has never ruled, why we've never been okay with darkness. So when you talk about God goes with me everywhere and that you don't fear the dark, that's only because you've been trained to live in darkness. You've trained to live through these times of dark ages. There was a time, let me tell you this right now. It was so many different ages of times in our existence. Let me say that again for somebody in the back that don't get it. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let me tell you something. There's always been different times and different ages that we're living in. And because of that, people have always had to adjust, train, and adapt to those times. There was the medieval, there were the dark ages. That was before Christ, that was after Christ. Hear me. There were times where there were no cars, there was no houses. There was castles. There was just land. There were times when there was no castles. There was times where it was just land. I say that to say for you to really understand the times we're in today. Because all through these ages, we have trained ourselves on how to live through light and darkness. There was a time where there were no houses and people just had to live outside. As the day broke and the day break and the sun rose and the sun set, that's how time was told. So when I talk about the times of how we've had to adjust to live, adjust to be, adjust to exist, adjust with the time and the ages, there is a time coming, a robotic time. There is a war time coming as well. And I told somebody the other day that we are living in World War III right now. And these times right now are very vital. Why? Because these are times that are written. See, if you believe what I believe in, there is a time that is written that war is upon us. There is a time that's written that tribulation is right in our face. And it kind of make you look at life like, what? Because then you look at these movies, the Avengers, Transformers, the Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. You know, you look at the difference in time. Trump really wants to take over Netherlands. He really wants to start a physical warfare with Iran right now. None of you all even know what war looks like on this land or this turf. Let me say that again for the people in the back. None of you know what war looks like on this land. none of you would know what to do if war was at your front door. You wouldn't even know how to protect yourself, let alone your family. These times are so vital because it is so much going on that war is amongst us right in our face and we don't even see it. We need to thank God for no filters. We need to thank God for the opportunity to have a pod to be able to speak directly each and every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. We got to thank God for this. Why? Because it was a time where we didn't have this. It was a time where nobody really had a voice outside of TV. It was a time where we only listened to those that are our idols and the famous people that they chose to put in front of us for us to worship. But when you look at these times, it takes this right here, us, ourselves, in these times, to only be able to speak ourselves, to know on how to prepare for tomorrow. Because there's going to come a time where you're going to hear something and you're not going to be prepared for it. And you're going to look up and think for a minute that we talked about it right here at No Filters. And in that moment only, you're going to know how to handle that situation. And as crazy as it may seem, you're going to tell your people, man, I ain't gonna lie, fam. My people over there at No Filters, we was talking about this same thing, and we said this was gonna happen, and this is what we gotta do. And that's exactly what we did. And this is why we still here right now. Woo! Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We finna go back in times of when Oprah Winfrey was after us, targeting us. And now that they see us, they see it in that. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We thank God for No Filters. Because the times we living in, you in the way. Let's go.
Guest was used also in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals, tribalism. What kinds of things went on in the family?
Out of all of the people that we have exposed on this channel, this woman right here is the most low-key demonic one of them all, bruh. And it's honestly crazy that I don't see more videos exposing her. Now we're about to hop into this video. I am doing a cash giveaway. And I'm gonna be cash apping people $100, literally. All you have to do is those three things. Leave a like. We're about to hop into this video titled, Oprah is not who you think she is. Let's get into it, yeah.
Oprah Winfrey was not friends with Jeffrey Epstein. She never went to a Diddy party, and somehow throughout every controversy she ever faced over her 40-year career, it was merely just a misunderstanding and she was completely innocent of any wrongdoing. Well, that's the official narrative. Whether she was platforming horrific offenders, exploiting victims for content, diverting attention away from Harvey Weinstein's crimes, starting a school in South Africa for young girls who ended up being abused by the employee,
bro, Harvey Weinstein is Oprah Winfrey's best bud, bro. I ain't gonna lie, her best pal.
Or her terrible Hawaii charity, the official narrative is always that Oprah was just trying to do the right thing and, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But for some reason, if you scour across the internet, you will find that so many people think the billionaire is shady, hiding something, or potentially evil, which is the polar opposite of the mainstream opinion that she is a deeply empathetic woman who is extremely charitable with her money. So today we're going to deep dive dive into Oprah Winfrey's career and the controversies that kept getting reframed as misunderstandings, because at a certain point, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Oprah became both the youngest person and the first black woman to anchor the news at Nashville's WTVF TV at age 19. By 1984, she relocated to Chicago to host WLS TV's morning program, AM Chicago, and this was around the time that the industry started to realize the potential Oprah had. AM Chicago became the city's #1 daytime talk show within a month, surpassing broadcasting legends like Donahue.
Everybody loves Oprah.
You mean me?
Were y'all listening to the words? That's some mental subconscious reprogramming BS that they got playing. Broadcasting straight to my subconscious, bro. What the fuck?
Less than a year later, AM Chicago expanded to a full hour and was rebranded as The Oprah Winfrey Show, which entered national syndication in 1986 and became television's highest rated talk show. Oprah knew how to excite a crowd or those watching at home, but she could also calm down and talk deeply and intimately about serious topics. She'd embrace the guest with her warm energy and give them her full undivided attention, like her interview with Connie Francis, where she discussed surviving assault.
Everybody who has ever had to face it, and that's why it's so good that you're on here, because you think, I have problems? My goodness. Because you are such a superstar and have survived such traumatic things in your lives, if you could do it, then people feel like they can too.
But beyond celebrities, Oprah would interview ordinary people about issues that were not widely discussed on television. One particular episode revolved around normal couples who struggled with infertility problems. Some other similar topics were women who snoop on their husbands, the complicated dynamics between mothers and daughters, and even women who were involved in the usage or distribution of cocaine. Oprah's style of discussion felt natural and honest. Millions of viewers at home could relate to these testimonies, watching people on television describe experiences that they had gone through themselves. However, not everyone was exactly celebrating Oprah's newfound popularity. This article from 1988 is technically complimenting her, but it reads like they are insulting her. Few would have bet on Oprah Winfrey's swift rise to host of the most popular talk show on TV. In a field dominated by white males, she is a black woman of ample bulk, usually over 190 pounds, though she has lost 24 of them since starting a medically supervised all-liquid diet 3 weeks ago. What she lacks in journalistic toughness, however...
Man, let me say this. Because just like I just told you, hit that like button, double tap that screen. Just like I just told y'all that the way how every time was a new time, new ages, new this, new that. Trip off this. Then they was just starting talk shows, right? You remember those times? See, a lot of y'all might remember those times. The Ricky Lakes, Jenny Jones, I think Maury might have been around at that time too. But what I'm saying is this was a new age of trying to figure out what to put on TV. Think about this. Think about if you was tasked, if your task was to find out what people want to watch. What should we put on TV for these people? Montel Williams. I remember Montel. Yeah, Montel Williams. Shout out to Montel. Montel was one of them, right? But the point I'm making in saying this is that it was so crazy because at that time was a very vital time, just like the times it is when we have our kids. These up and beginning days and what they consume is only what they can be taught to, only what they will know. You cannot be mad for your child being how they are because of their beginning. You are responsible for your child. You're responsible for their beginnings. Their upbringings is what creates the foundation of their life. You are the only one responsible of that. Just like they was responsible of birthing America. They chose Phil Donahue, there was another, Arsenio, or there was another one. You better understand what I'm saying. Queen in the building. Brandy, I feel you. I want you to understand this. You're the reason. And they was the reason. That's why they chose her to format the world, format conversations. You understand how, see, there's another seed that was planted. They just planted an Oprah seed. They had her plant a seed every day regarding how we should be living. Think about that. The world never had a curriculum. Ain't this more? This is like a beautiful problem. Because the world never had a way. If you look at yourself, if you really, no, Brandy, look at you right now, Brandy. Look at yourself right now, Brandy. Look at you right now, Brandy. Everything you do, Brandy, you are not responsible. And as weird as that seems, I want you to know you ain't did nothing on your own. You never created nothing. You never was the first to do nothing. Matter of fact, whatever you thought to do, somebody planted that seed in your brain to do it. Ain't that sad? Don't that feel a certain way? That almost make you feel like you ain't you, or you're lesser than what you thought you was right now. You just went down a notch. Because if you see, you keep thinking everything you do every day is based off you just coming up with you and you doing it because you did it, because you thought it, because you felt it, so you went and did it. No, you dumb mother, you stupid. As a baby, we don't know nothing. We are influenced by every and each and everything. My child runs around and repeats whatever we say. You get the point in my picture right now? There is nothing that you're doing authentically or brought to this world that somebody ain't told you to already do. So what really makes you feel that you one of a kind? See, when we tap into reality and what's real, that's when you stop living a fake world and you really start making real decisions that you can say, hey, I did that. That's when you can say, no, I didn't get that from them. I wasn't influenced by that. No one's persuaded me because I seen this, heard that, or felt this, or somebody talked to me about what that's like or as. I'm giving you an opportunity to do something somebody never did. I'm giving you an opportunity to create more than what somebody made you create. Why? Because seed that was planted in your mind for you to just start thinking it. Seeds in your mind created by others who had to create the world, the curriculum, the ways of it. If you really sit back, it makes you wonder. You go to work every day to do the same thing with your money so you can be here tomorrow. Once again, you didn't come up with that. You're not Albert Einstein, fam. Right. See, these names are because they're the first. Nobody influenced them. Nobody said, oh, it looks like something bright is coming from over there. Okay, well, we need to start thinking about light in houses or something that can make something bright in an enclosed space. No, you didn't do that. The only way you start to make your own way, let me say that the right way so you can hear that beginning again. The only way you can make your own way is when you start informing, understanding, and being aware. Because if you don't do them three on your own, you have done nothing or made a conscious effort of becoming a trendsetter that sets trends. Let me say that again. You have done nothing to become a trendsetter or to set trends. Because the only thing that's going on in the world today is becoming a trendsetter. And you are not one of those. Somebody set the trend for what you're doing. And everything you do every day is based off somebody that's already done it before you. So tell me what you're doing that they're not yet always done before. So what you might be doing is becoming a member of No Filters. You might be hitting that subscribe button. You might be double tapping that screen. You might be joining to become a sponsor. But even in that, somebody has done that already because they believe I'm giving you an opportunity to do something somebody else never did. Tell somebody you in the way. People are in the way of you doing something you never did. People are in the way of you creating what no one has ever done. And when you stand for something, you put yourself in a place to become the first to do it. Woo! You better hear me. I just helped somebody right there. That's the breakthrough right there, fam. Hear me. I just helped somebody. I'm giving you the opportunity to become the first to do something somebody else ain't did in your family. Somebody else ain't did in your presence. Somebody else ain't did in your hood. Giving you the opportunity to stand for something more than you. More than what the world is doing. Not the same seed that everybody else has. You're getting a golden opportunity, fam. And because somebody in the way, or because you in the way, is keeping you from doing the first thing somebody else ain't did. You better hear me. Everything you do and everything you've done has been based off somebody else's doing. There's nothing you've done, nothing you've thought, nothing you felt, nothing you've seen that hasn't made your mind already see it, feel it, hear it, smell it, taste it. The world is headed to a place of one of a kind. There's so many people standing for so many things that they falling for whatever. That's the reverse. You'd have thought that if you stand for something, you won't fall for nothing. But there's so many things going on that everybody's standing for whatever. So that mean they falling for whatever. You better hear me today. They standing for this, for that. They standing for, I watched the news the other day. They said that people from the dead can see the ghost of something when you die. You can still hear ghost and something else and something. And they on the news telling it, and the way the lady is saying it, I know that she just took half of the world that's gonna stand for that. Because of what they heard. So now you got people just falling for anything. Standing for whatever and falling for anything. I bet you didn't expect me to turn that on you like that, did you? I know you ain't expect that, Chris. You ain't see that coming, Chris. You ain't expect that, Lori. I told you to stand for something so you don't fall for anything. And the world today is standing for everything and they falling for anything. That's the world we in today. That's the direction we headed. That's the warfare. You ain't expecting. Hit you with this and then I had to hit you with the, that's what the world is doing. That's what's going on. So now we have to take a step back, because now we can't stand for that. Now we can't stand for this. We can't stand for that. We can't stand for this. We can't stand for that. No, we can't do that now. See, that's what the world is now. See, that's why we got to change our method too. You see how they changed their method? They knew doing this type of way ain't working. It's working, but it ain't hitting hard because there's too many people in the world. So they was like, we got to change the method. You know what? We just finna make them stand for everything. We finna make gay marriage. We finna make people that identify as male or female. You can go in the bathrooms with these people. You can go invade their privacy. They putting this in the school. They telling your 7 and 8-year-old, if you want to be gay, go ahead, do what you want, do what thou wilt. Boy, you better hear me today. They have took the belt off. They have taken the gate lock off. They didn't open it up wide open and feeding us whatever. So we just fall for anything. You can wake up right now and been feeling some type of way about something, and all you got to do is just go look it up. And it's people that stand for it. You better hear me. I don't care what it is. You can wake up and feel some type of way about something. Go look it up, look into it, and you're going to see a whole community. You'll see a whole community standing for it. So the reverse psychology has been reversed. The psychological has been reshaped, remade. Everything is stand for everything, fall for everything. So I want you to understand why we're here to save your life when you become a member. Because you didn't even hear that coming. You didn't even see that coming. You didn't know this the way today. I know you didn't. But that's why you need to become a member. That's why you need to subscribe to No Filters Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. right here with your boy Dilla T and my fam. Right here, No Filters. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You don't even know what's coming because you ain't thinking about it. But you need to thank God that there's somebody out here that care about your future and your kids and your safety. Your boy Dilla T and my fam. Right here at No Filters. You better hear me, man. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Why? Because we cook it.
However, she makes up one particular episode revolved around normal couples who struggled with infertility problems. Some other similar topics were women who snoop on their husbands, the complicated dynamics between mothers and daughters, and even women who were involved in the usage or distribution of cocaine. Oprah's style of discussion felt natural and honest. Millions of viewers at home could relate to these testimonies, watching people on television describe experiences that they had gone through themselves. However, not everyone was exactly celebrating Oprah's newfound popularity. This article from 1988 is technically complimenting her, but it reads like they are insulting her. Few would have bet on Oprah Winfrey's swift rise to host of the most popular talk show on TV. In a field dominated by white males, she is a black woman of ample bulk, usually over 190 pounds, though she has lost 24 of them since starting a medically supervised all-liquid diet 3 weeks ago. What she lacks in journalistic toughness, however, she makes up in plain-spoken curiosity, robust humor, and above all, empathy. Oprah faced prejudice about her race, weight, and lack of formal education. She came off as a regular person just trying to relate to regular people. But beyond the prejudice, there were also real criticisms about how Oprah approached these topics. Her show focused more on how stories felt, rather than breaking them down in any kind of expert or academic way. Oprah wasn't bringing on specialists who could accurately explain why these people were in the situations that they were, but to be fair, many of the topics didn't really demand that level of analysis. These were everyday problems discussed by everyday people. But something interesting started to happen simply by hosting these conversations and validating.
Real quick, shout out to A Love Within in the building. Listen to me. You see how he said they started to target people's feelings. Not the logic thing you should do for your problem or natural helping with your issue. They wanted to target how you felt about it, how it made you feel, and how that affected your life. Which at some point, it was going to domino effect how it made somebody else feel that went through that same similar thing like we all do, brainwashed. Like I said, somebody else at home feeling that same way, and they want some light shined on their feelings. They want to be felt important because why? They don't want to live in darkness. So she knew if we target their feelings, they will love me more. Ooh, let me say that again. If we target about their heart, if we let them know that we care about what they're going through, they'll love me more. And if they love me more, they'll follow me. And if they follow me, they'll follow what I do, and they'll follow what I say, and they'll follow how I live. And Oprah turned that into that. And you know what's funny? We looking at that today like, wow. But to be honest with you, that was the formula. But we never seen it. Because these was the earlier days of the world beginning. Think about it. You was a part of the world beginning. Think about them old days, Fleetwoods, all of that. Hippie years, all of that. When crack era was going crazy like the weed area is now. Yeah, all these were times of the world beginning. There was the horse age before they even had their first car. Wooden wheels, no rubber. Come on, fam. These was the ages of beginning the world, creating the world, a curriculum, how the world should move. It was a time where they was talking about poverty, on how poverty started. Food stamps. Like it was a whole back and forth about food stamps, government assistance. It was white people and black people, and they was talking about poverty. The system, how poverty is weighed, how poverty was created, how poverty was even looked at. And you have white men looking at poverty and seeing black people in poverty was like, wow, I see why. And then they looking at the curriculum in the mind of why young people in poverty had to start hustling. When hustling began, it was a time where hustling began, where they felt like that a young man had to hustle because he felt like that he needed the money because of the things he had and what he couldn't do because he couldn't get a job. So now they had to start thinking about jobs, minimum wage, what was enough, how old you could be to even get a job. All these it was beginnings to all of this, fam. And if you was around in these beginnings, would have really been in the way or had a voice? Because at the end of the day, feelings does not define the outcome of things. Logic will always be based on white and black. Logic is based on white and black. Feelings is based on color. Let me say that again for somebody that don't really get it. Logic is white and black. Feelings is color. There was a time where poverty was crazy. It was a time where food stamps began. It was a time where incarcerated numbers started. It was a time. Oprah was a part of these times of the beginning of the weak-minded men and women that had no brain, women of the world that had, and then she was targeting white women. Liberals. So I'm just talking about how nothing that you've done on your own. Nothing that you've thought by yourself. All that you're doing, feeling, and thinking has been influenced by somebody that's already done it before you. And now yet you have a chance to step outside of that box. You have a chance to think different, feel different, act different, move different, raise your kids different. This is a chance for you. Because again, all that we do, we are doing from someone else doing before us. Now that can feel like you a follower, But to be honest, we are all followers, period. Coming in the world as a baby, you a follower right there. The moment you hit the floor, the moment you hit the world, you a follower. What are you doing to change the brainwash? What are you doing to change following? What are you doing? If you think about it, you really ain't doing much. But some of you are. So you got to really take your time out to inform, understand, and be aware. Because if you're doing something outside of the box that you ain't never did or had brainwashed to be doing, period, or living the way you're living, by all means, inform, understand, and be aware. Because other than that, you in the way. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, let's go.
In people's stories, Oprah herself started to be viewed as someone to trust in a broad range of subjects, even though she wasn't presenting any research, expert consensus, or long-term data. Her authority got even stronger when she used herself as an experiment for extreme weight loss, and it launched her into mainstream fame. Oprah went on a 4-month-long, medically supervised fast program called OptiFast, where she bragged about not eating any food for the entire duration. OptiFast is considered a supplemental fast, meaning that the patients subsist on high-protein, vitamin-packed powder mixed with water. The formula is taken 5 times a day to substitute for eating. Total daily caloric intake is 420. Oprah went from 212 pounds to 145 pounds in 4 months, and to celebrate her new body, she brought out a wagon of disgusting fat that represented the amount that she had lost.
At the time, I felt it was important to show it in that way because I'd starved. I'd literally starved for 4 months or 4.5 months.
The fat loss episode in particular caught the eyes of 62 million viewers. During a period when everyone watched TV exclusively, this stunt almost got as much attention as the Super Bowl that same year. This was dangerous because it made an extreme, tightly controlled medical program look like a simple starvation diet. And the 62 million viewers who watched didn't have the doctors or financial means to attempt this safely. By Oprah celebrating the results without emphasizing the risks, the message became dangerously simple. This worked for me, so it could work for you. And suddenly, one supervised fast gave Oprah the perception as an expert in nutrition. She started making diet plans, and dangerous foods a recurring theme on her show, which would eventually get her into some major legal trouble down the road. But by 1988, Oprah was on top of the world. She founded Harpo Studio.
It's like people over here want to get the results, but they never want to put in the work. That's something that I will never understand. People see someone else's success, let's just say Oprah's weight loss, not know what diet she was on, which was a doctor administered program that gave her the essential proteins, and they just starved themselves to death, bro. And then they try to sue her for it. We live in an interesting world, bro.
Becoming the 3rd woman in American entertainment history to own her own studio. She now had more potential than any other talk show host or any other media personality in history. She had massive ambitions, and it quickly became clear that she was willing to do anything to get to the top, pushing boundaries of what daytime television could get away with. Like when she brought on a gang of white supremacists on her show to discuss their worldview.
I just heard what you said. You just said, I don't sit with monkeys. You think because she's black, because I'm black, we're monkeys? Is
That's a proven fact.
A bunch of low IQ racists came on Oprah to spread hate, and she did very little to push back or challenge what they were saying. The very moment that the white supremacists left the show, Oprah realized that she had platformed a very dangerous group of individuals, and she swore to never do it again.
When they left, I made a decision that I would no longer allow the platform that I had to be misused by people who were carrying any form of negative energy that could create more negative energy in the world. That what I thought I had been doing.
Now, you see that? And it killed me. I hate an articulate talker. Let me say that again. I hate an articulate talker. I didn't say I hate an articulate person. I said I hate an articulate talker. Because an articulate talker could make lying look like a beautiful painting. An articulate talker can always excuse themselves from something that was wrong, bad, disgusting, sick, foul, just the bottom of the barrel. An articulate talker can always have a way out. Even when things are bold and blatant in your face, an articulate talker, because that's what the world has been designed as. Blue collar, professional speech, formal wear, uniform. These words are of the world. These words are general standards of public being. So when you hear an articulate talker speak, it don't matter what they say. They can be bold-facedly lying in your face, but they are so articulate in their talk that they can literally feed you false narrative in your face, lie about it, spin it, and give it back to you, and you still accept it again. And that's all because they are talking articulately. You will literally trust an articulate talker because of how they sound. They sound so articulate that they sound like everything's uniform, formal, in order, and the general standards of today. You have to watch that. When people like that start talking, you have to decide and decipher the words that they're using. That's why I said, if it walk like a duck, talk like a duck, it's a duck. An articulate talker can talk theirself out of making you think they a duck, but yet it walk like it talk like it, so it is that. So why am I letting this articulate duck talk theyself out of all of that quacking? Why would I let this articulate duck talk like that when I know it walked like it talked like it, and it showed itself as it is so? And that's the problem we having. We know what it is, we see what it is, so that's what it is. But yet we let the articulate make you forget everything that was said. Make you forget everything out the door. Like you know this mother is evil, conniving, sick, ain't right, robbed you of all of your money, feelings, and love, did you dirty, did you bad, woo! But yet they open their mouth articulately and can talk themselves right out of that hole they dug for themselves. All because of your weak mind. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, become a member. We're here to save you. Your weak mind knew it was a duck, but yet let that articulate talk you out of it. And that's exactly what Oprah did. Oprah has set up all these generations and articulately talked herself out of fire and brimstone. Watch for these articulate talkers. You better tell them you in the way. Ooh, I got to write that down. You better get yourself together in here. Watch for the articulate talkers. Tell somebody you in the way. Watch for that articulate talker. Because I'm telling you in the way. Because you in the way. You understand me? You better tell somebody you're an articulate talker. Shut up talking to me. You tell somebody tomorrow you're an articulate talker. Shut up talking to me. You always got that mouth. You always got some lined up in the way to say it, because you know what? The articulate talker worried about how they say what they're saying more than what they saying. They worried about how they say it. They dress it up so well that you ain't even heard what they say. It sounds so damn good that you done. It sounds so good you ain't know what was said. You ever, boy, this mother sounds so, boy, I don't even, boy, I don't even know what you said, but it talked me right out my money. You women, you ladies, you women, I know you didn't boy that walked up and smooth talked you, hit you with the and you like, woo, this boy here, girl. You like, girl, let me tell you something about this one here, boy, talked me right out of my drawers. Yeah, he talked me right out of them things. You hear me? Woo! Articulate talker he is. You better hear me today. That's what's walking around in our lives. Articulate talker, smooth taste food you talkers. What? Identify an articulate talker. It'll get you a long way. It'll save your life. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We're here to save your life. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We're here to save your life. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We're here to save your life.
Doing was allowing people to see how violent that.
Look at this articulate talk.
Because I'm black, we're monkeys. Is that?
That's a proven fact.
A bunch of.
She knew what she was doing because the producers allowed her to do it. They told her, bring them on. Think about it. This was the first time. Nobody ever did this. Oprah was the first person doing this, bringing white supremacists on to talk about how they feel about black people on live TV in front of the world. So think about it. They knew what they was doing. That ain't no, oh, I'm just using this because I care about. No, they said they targeting feelings. They just said that out of their mouth. They were targeting feelings. Not logic, feelings. So they just telling, they got this man up here telling you how he feel about black people. What we talking about here? So when she sit up and turn around and say, articulate talk you out your mind, she gonna turn around and articulate talk you out and be like, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I can't believe I did that. You know, at the time this was this, but that day forward, I told the producers I'm never using my platform. Shut up, stupid. The producers are in charge of your platform. So how you gonna tell them white folk what you ain't gonna do, black woman? What? They telling you what you gonna do. So she gonna sit there articulate, excuse herself out of this situation. You better find somebody else to believe that bull. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Listen to when she starts to articulate and talk. And the way she's saying what she says, but she never is apologetic for what she did. Why? Because it isn't her doing, it's the producers. But she is the face. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, let's go. Tell somebody, stop talking to me articulate. Get that articulate talk on because it ain't making no sense. Let's go.
IQ racists came on Oprah to spread hate, and she did very little to push back or challenge what they were saying. The very moment that the white supremacists left the show, Oprah realized that she had platformed a very dangerous group of individuals, and she swore to never do it again.
When they left, I made a decision that I would no longer allow the platform that I had to be misused by people who were carrying any form of negative energy that could create more negative energy in the world. That what I thought I had been doing was allowing people to see how violent, how abusive, how not smart they were, that I was actually doing the opposite.
But this wasn't exactly the truth. Oprah continued to platform people with dangerous ideologies, and things got dark quickly. Winfrey slowly stepped away from logical, ordinary discussions and entertained more sensationalism. One of her most successful series was about a phenomenon called the Satanic Panic. It was a wave of moral panic that swept across the nation as many Americans believed that secret satanic cults performing rituals and
Bro, the fact that this has been a topic of conversation for years, decades is crazy.
Infiltrating schools, daycares, and communities. For Oprah, it looked like she saw this.
So think about this. Oprah back in the day was already talking about satanic everything. She's literally bringing these people on her show to talk about it to the world, as if she's giving us teachings. And again, these are, man, listen, man, these are influences, teachings that we do to our kids. We're giving them options. Like I said earlier, giving your kids options. And because we don't know, we taking it all. Okay, so Oprah was giving her kids, which was us, the people, options. Her platform, her audience, they are grown kids that know nothing about this stuff, know something about it. But the ones that don't, they know as long as we put it out there, as long as we plant the seed, we will know who's stupid, who dumb, who's smart, who don't care, who lacking love, who needs a friend, who has no family, who's homeless, who's fat, who's skinny, who don't care, who do care. This is the way. And that's exactly what they did, fam. And I just said this out of my mouth before I even played this video. So I'm telling you, hit that membership, become a member. We're here to save your life. Things you don't know, articulate talkers. You don't know that. But now that I broke that down for you, you realize you got a lot of articulate talkers around you that done something bad, the worst, disgusting, and continue to do bad by people. But they articulate talking is allowing them to skate right by with no consequence. It's allowing them to skate by as if they can continue to do that. Why? Because the articulate behind their reasoning. They're articulate talking behind the reasoning of doing those things. But if you dissect what they articulately say, you would know that ain't nothing but a bunch of jibber jabber nothing. You did it. You walk like a duck. You talk like a duck. Damn it, you a duck. And you can't articulately talk yourself out of duck activity. Period. And that's exactly what this was. A person trying to talk themselves out of duck activity that we all have witnessed her do. Why? Because they was after the people. These are some of the beginnings of the first talk shows. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We cooking, fam.
As a great opportunity, regularly platforming anyone who made claims of experiencing satanic worship.
Our next guest was used also in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals, cannibalism. What kinds of things went on in the family?
Sacrifice, and you would have to, there were people who brought these in our family.
Despite lacking verifiable evidence, stories about supernatural or dark spirits kept viewers glued to the screen. The country's strong Christian values at the time helped fuel the hysteria, and the satanic panic became the modern version of the Salem witch trials. Some pastors even believed threats came from movies and video games. Heavy metal and hard rock bands like Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, and Judas Priest were accused of pushing Satanism through their lyrics and dark imagery. In 1989, Michelle Smith, co-author of Michelle Remembers, appeared on the Oprah.
But trip off that. Rock bands that was already talking about devil, Satan, and all that, people not even woke up. They listening to this mess. But the fact that she started talking straight to people that's explaining Satan, darkness, evil, all of that, human sacrifice. Now they woke. Talking about, oh man, we've been listening to that in these songs. That this man is explaining that that's what this is. So tell me this. This is how you know that they've been selling souls. Because why would she get that deal, get the talk show, and then all of a sudden start putting people up there to talk about the devil all the time? I'll wait. I mean, after you get the deal, now you talking about the devil. Don't that sound like a million rappers? Don't that sound like a million singers? Don't that sound like a million actors? Don't that sound like a million dreamers? That is crazy work. And this was how far long ago was this? This was over 30 years ago. This over 30 years ago. Oprah and them been getting deals and talking about Satan after you get the deal. So that's why I'm like, oh man, this just brings even more light to darkness, my G. Because now it's like, why was Oprah even talking to Satan people, trying to feed the world over 30 years ago? This goes hand in hand with what's going on today and what's expected of you when you sign deals and what you got to do. And she was doing it back then. So that's why she a #1 high-level priest or witch or something, because she started way back when. And it's funny too, because that was the earliest starts of the agenda. That wasn't like how it is now. Like, that's how you know how blatant it is, bruh. Because that was just the early parts of the agenda and how she was a part of that. And now it makes you just wonder, like, man. She knows she knows she was a part of the world's growth, where the world was headed, how white women, how a lot of women look at the world. She knows she single-handedly was the change, was the difference, was the influence in women's culture and women's lives today. That is crazy, man. To know that you single-handedly did that. The articulate talking. Getting rid of it. Let's go.
Oprah Winfrey Show alongside Laurel Rose Wilson, another publicized victim of satanic cults. Her claims appeared in the 1988 book Satan's Underground, where she detailed extreme graphic stories of supposed occult. However, her claims were debunked after investigators found that none of her claims of satanic ritual abuse could be verified. In her book, Wilson described being forced into cult ceremonies, but reporters discovered that the key events were impossible. She wasn't living of Satanists, but in foster care. No police or medical records matched Wilson's stories, and the people she named as perpetrators had alibis or no connections to her at all. Simply put, her book was all hearsay, but Oprah had her on anyway. Similarly, Smith's Michelle Remembers was debunked through basic fact-checking. Journalists found that a lot of the dramatic events Michelle described, like month-long rituals, car accidents, and hospitalizations, had no records or evidence. Despite both of these books being entirely made up, almost closer to science fiction, both women's experiences were presented by Winfrey as incontrovertible fact, and not once did she question the authenticity of any claim in either book. But Oprah did not stop there. She brought out a young boy named Duffy Strode, whose family was being chased out of town for stirring up fear in Marion, North Carolina.
Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me.
In your own word, tell us, what does that mean?
It means just what it says.
While it might have made for engaging television, there was something seriously wrong about putting a very young child on stage to defend his beliefs to a crowd of angry spectators. It's pretty clear this young boy doesn't fully understand what's going on. He almost seems kind of hypnotized. And remember, this is pre-social media. It's not like the boy was already amplifying his voice and getting millions of views on everyone's phones around the world. Oprah gave them a national platform, and she presented herself as the voice of reason, but also refused to keep her audience calm and under control. She knew the chaos made for great TV. And yes, people were critical of Oprah at the time, but it didn't matter. She owned the show, she was the boss, and as long as the network was making money, they didn't care. By the early 90s, a genre now called trash TV was emerging. The media started moving towards more sensational stories or controversial topics with shows like The Jerry Springer Show, The Jenny Jones Show, and Maury.
I used to love Jerry Springer when I was a kid, bro.
Unknown backgrounds to share their
Jerry Springer and Maury,
pregnancies, stolen inheritance, or
those are my shows as a kid.
People always seem to make the situation so.
What you about that? Look, kid, hit that like button, double tap that screen real quick, fam. Little dude get up, yelling, screaming. So his pressure, and then they talking about he looked like as if he was under something. influence or something he had to do or something he had to say. That's the point I'm trying to tell you. When kids are not in control. We are in control of everything they doing. They are not in control. That boy spazzed out real hard. So if he spazzed out like that, she was like, what are you doing that for? As if she don't even know. Oh man, that's crazy. And me just seeing that let me further know what it was. Oh my God. And then you talk about the other shows, Jerry Springer, all of that. Those shows start piggybacking off of Oprah because of what she did. But the problem was they wasn't there to be trying to help nobody about no feelings. They was there for action, entertainment, things of that nature. So that was the difference in seeing Oprah and seeing Jerry Springer.
Explosive that the guests and audience members would literally start fighting each other. And I'd be lying if I said this wasn't entertaining. But the key difference was that these shows were unapologetically chaotic. The spectacle was the point, and everyone involved understood that going in. Oprah was supposed to be facilitating meaningful discussions, but she tried to balance that fine line between sensationalism and legitimate topics. And she honestly did a great job at it. In 1990, she interviewed a murderer and bank robber in prison who had multiple personality disorder. In 1991, she brought on mothers and stepmothers to argue over who deserves what authority in the child's life.
My first guest, Patty, calls her kids stepmom. She's here with her daughter, Tina. Tina claims that she loves both of them. Tina's stepmother, Sharon Saylor, says Patty is jealous because of the close relationship that she has with Tina.
In 92, she brought on gay people
That's an interesting
who were fired from their
conversation.
jobs for being homosexual, and then brought on employers to defend their decision to fire gay employees.
Employment is a right that we have as an employer to whether we hire or fire somebody. By the same reason that I would not knowingly hire a homosexual, neither would I knowingly hire a or someone who is a gigolo or someone who is a womanizer, because I think I have that right to project a certain image for my company.
In 93, she had a segment called Why White Men Fear Black Men, where white men express their views on racism to other black men's faces.
I don't feel that the white race, I mean, how long can we continue to be guilty? Wrongs were done. It's a shame. They're wrongs presently. But how long can you play on the same thing? Something happened 20 or 30 years ago.
And to her credit, she seemed to do a good job at creating these fair environments, where individuals with varying opinions can all get a chance to voice them, leaving the audience to decide what to believe. However, she did not give that same grace to celebrities, because in Hollywood, celebrities are expected to surrender their privacy as a part of the job. Their relationships, trauma, addictions, and mistakes are all treated as fair game for someone like Oprah to poke and prod at. Plus, the audience believed that just by being on the show that they had signed up to be interrogated. One of the most awkward interviews Oprah ever had on her show was with Michael Jackson, where she continuously asked questions about his trauma that he grew increasingly uncomfortable answering.
I had pimples so badly, and my father teased me, and I just hated it. I cried every day.
Your father would tease you about your pimples?
He would tell me I'm ugly.
What's your relationship like with him?
I love my father, but I don't know him.
Are you angry with him for doing that?
Sometimes I do get angry, yes. I don't know him the way I'd like to know him.
But this was Michael's first televised interview.
Shout out to Michael Jackson, bro, because I've been seeing a lot of videos of people saying that, what is it called? The Wonder Palace, whatever Michael Jackson had, where he would invite I don't want to use the word, bro. YouTube's getting so sensitive nowadays. But he would invite over people who were his fans, let's just say. And it's now starting to be shown as an escape for them, or potential people who are going to be going to Epstein's Island. I'm going to make a whole entire video about that in one of our next uploads, though.
In 14 years, so she was not going to miss out on her opportunity.
So he would tease you, make fun of you?
Yes.
Did he ever you?
Yes.
And why would
you? I guess maybe, I don't know if I was his golden child or whatever it was. He was very strict, very hard. And just a look would scare you.
Were you scared of him?
Very. There's been times when he'd come to see me and I would get sick. You know, I'd start to regurgitate.
Oprah went question by question, bringing up every ridiculous rumor that was ever spread about him, from the allegations that he had bleached his skin, to plastic surgery, to his sexuality and his history with relationships.
Have you ever been in love? Yeah. With Brooke Shields? Yes, and another girl. It's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you a virgin? How could you ask me that question? I just want to know. I want to know. I'm a gentleman. It's something that's private. I mean, shouldn't be spoken about openly. You can call me old-fashioned if you want, but to me that's very personal. So you're not going to answer it? I'm embarrassed. So you're not going to answer it?
Oprah's a rude person. She really thinks she's entitled to get an answer.
Now think about this. Hit that like button, double tap that screen right now. Listen to me. The reason why we didn't look at that as nefarious back then, because these was the beginnings of conversations we never knew about. These was the beginning of talk shows that you only could grab. This is the beginning of the good, of the bad being looked at as good and good being looked at as bad. And I've been saying that day one right here with my No Filters family, that the world now is being looked at as good, is being looked at as bad, and bad is being looked at as good. And this is some of the beginnings of that work. Because now you got bad stuff on TV being looked at as good because it's a discussion to talk about. But the bad problem is that it's an influence on your life and your household. Why? Because again, you don't stand for nothing. So you don't really know what to fall for. So by you not having no guidance, you're looking at Oprah like, okay, well, whatever Oprah stands on, I'm going to stand on it. Why? Because Oprah is showing aggression and standing. Even if it's wrong, she is still showing her authority and her stance. And that's all you had to show people, weak-minded people. All you had to do is show them that you're taking a stand on what you believe in. Even if it's false, wicked, whatever. The fact she took a stand, that's why she gained those people. She stood. When the white boy, supremacist boy talking crazy, she stood in these situations because she invited that war. She invited that fire. And she stood right in the fire with it. And by the way, this is nothing against my white brothers and sisters or nothing. But they chose. Think about why was the crowd not an all black crowd? Why was the crowd not a majority black women? Why was the audience all looking alike? All sound alike? I mean, 90% of the audience is one color, and when 3 or 4 women open their voice, they all sounded the same almost. Why is that? That was another targeted situation. They're targeting white women, household white women that has money. That's exactly all she did. She targeted white, married, household women with money. Because think about it. Think about this. Instead of that being 4 black men from the Black Panther movement, it was 4 white supremacist men talking to 1 black talk show host and a crowd full of white women. So when you see that, I'm trying to tell you how they targeted those people. They targeted those women. They targeted those women because they knew those were the women that were going to listen. They was the women that was more sensitive. They were the women that was more understood by feelings, because those women wasn't slaves. Those women wasn't in the projects. Those women wasn't in the rough patches in life. Those women wasn't in poverty. Those women didn't see that. Those women are living in relationships, married with children. You understand? Those women were targeted. Period. And because they were targeted, that was the difference, fam. So I'm just tell you that we realizing it now because we have so much to understand. We have so much to go off of. We have a blueprint now that we know fraudulent activity. We have a blueprint now that we know jankiness. We know if it's a duck. We have a blueprint to identify a duck. That's a shirt. We have the blueprint to identify a duck. And that's why we breaking this down to say, hey, none of this was coincidental. None of this was like, oh, we came up with a talk show and this what it is and we just spent it and this how it turned out and we're just so grateful for how it was. This ain't that. This was a scripted situation. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You better know, boy, I've been going all day with this. I can go all night too. But I don't care because it's Friday. And you ain't got nothing to do. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You in here with your boy Dilla T. I don't care what you're talking about. I can look like I'm tired. I can do what I want. I'm in my house. But you gotta hear me right now. I do this because I love y'all. We're gonna keep bringing it in, bringing it out. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. This was nefarious, smart, and when I say, this was like a masterpiece, what Oprah did. Let's go.
Michael responds with class. She didn't deserve it. Oprah has no boundaries. Asking celebrities unrehearsed questions put her in total control. The famous guests knew that if they reacted normally and pushed back, Oprah's massive audience might turn against them and ruin their reputation. And because of this, every visit to the Oprah Winfrey Show was a bit of a gamble. They know talking with Oprah would be a big promotional tool for their career, but they could easily be caught in a trap where they might be forced to reveal personal secrets. Like when Oprah interviewed Broadway legend Nathan Lane and asked about his sexual orientation, but luckily Robin Williams saved him.
Taking that role and being like typecasting people forever saying, are you not, is he, honey, I don't know.
Girl, you changed just in the middle of that sentence. Don't make me come out there.
I don't think Oprah was trying to out me, but I said to Robin beforehand, I'm not prepared. I'm so scared of going out there and talking to Oprah. I'm not prepared to discuss, that I'm gay on national television. I'm not ready. And then, of course, she was like, how come you're so good at that girly stuff? And then Robin sort of swoops in and diverts Oprah and goes off on a tangent and protects me because he was a saint.
Oprah tried as hard as she could to get some sort of juicy gossip or headline from Prince, but he knew what she was doing and wouldn't give in.
Have you ever perceived yourself as being weird in any way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand everything's relative, not weird to me.
And you're living in Minneapolis, of all places.
Minneapolis, yeah. I will always live in Minneapolis.
You will always live there? Mm-hmm. Why?
It's so cold, it keeps bad people out.
Some people even think that he was low-key dissing her by saying it keeps the bad people away, since she was clearly hating on Minneapolis for some reason. Oprah also turned her sit-down with Toni Braxton into a straight-up interrogation about her finances and lifestyle, shaming her in front of the entire world.
B-R-O-K-E, broke? Broke. Like broke. No money. No money. Like net worth what? Negative. 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 She has filed for bankruptcy.
She's so freaking mean to me. I was in shock.
Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much.
And see, this is where you started to see, hit that like button, double tap that screen, feel me right quick. This is when you see a black woman articulately trying to talk that talk in under a white house, because her audience is majority white women. So she's almost forgetting that she's black, talking to a black woman who has more money than her because of her R&B situation, in her career, but then finds out she don't, and then she comes on Oprah, and Oprah's talking to her like she's white, talking to a black woman that doesn't have it. And then as she's asking these articulate questions in an articulate manner, so just gross nut negative. So you're saying you don't have anything? Oh my God, that's crazy. So what is your net growth like? And her face expression is giving vibes like, wow, really? I can't believe your black ass is broke. I mean, you just seeing the embarrassment. And you almost have to look at her like, you know, the white folk made you rich. Like, you know, you was broke too. Like somebody gave you a job and gave you some money. Just like they gave Tony Braxton a job and gave Tony Braxton some money. And I think that's what people, man, people got to really hold back on that articulate talk. Because they'll start forgetting how they look. They'll just keep tripping out how they sound and forget how they look. Because then they start going in on other people that don't even deserve that type of conversation. But yet they'll talk down on them like they so beneath them just because they're talking articulately. I'm not beneath you because you know how to talk in a certain way that sounds uniform of today. I'm not beneath you because you might use a word that I'm choosing not to use right now. I'm not beneath you. And articulate people will make you feel beneath everything because of how they're talking, making it seem like they know what they're doing, knowing how they're doing, but honestly, at the end of the day, they covering their own tracks. They're trying to keep themselves in the clear. They're trying to keep themselves to be looked at a certain way on a certain platform. You got to understand, to us as black people that's been through things, you want to be accepted on all platforms, on all levels. And when you're a black person trying to go after that level like Oprah, she's wanting to be accepted and being accepted, having a talk show. It's a point where you have a talk show and you get people, and then when you got them, now you turn that energy and make it looks like, okay, now you all need me. See, I needed you all. And now the crowd, the audience needs Oprah. That's how it was spent. That's how they put it together. That's how they created it. And that's when you get people that's targeting your feelings. Because now, those same people that has feelings and all they want to talk about is feelings, Oprah was like, as long as we talk about their feelings, they're going to feel me. And now that she has them, she's like, y'all need me now. I don't need y'all. Y'all need me now. So every episode started coming on, Oprah started feeling like she was needed by these people. You understand what I'm saying? That table turned quick. She needed them first, and then when she started coming and being bold, because think about it, white women ain't done a lot of things that black women has done. A lot of black women ain't did a lot of things white women didn't do. They haven't been through the same things. So certain stuff that Oprah feel okay to talk about or speak about as a black woman, to a white woman, she might feel like, oh my God, what are you doing? That's too much. Or you talking too loud, or you saying too much, or you're being rude or bold or embarrassing. And to Oprah, she like, I'm a black woman. I come from the hood, project, under the ground. Everything we lived was embarrassing. Our lives was embarrassing. Our living, the way we lived, the way we came from, it was all embarrassing. So that's why we don't feel a type of way to talk that talk or say certain stuff to certain people a certain way. No, we don't feel no type of way. We do not feel a certain way. We used to talking like that. Oprah used to talking like that. So they chose the right one that would ask those type of questions, not caring about feelings. Because when you've been through it, feelings is out the door. Feelings don't matter no more. And that's exactly what it was, fam. And that's why they did it like that. So that's why I tell you, They targeted weak-minded, soft people, and they put the microphone in a strong black woman's hands that had a voice and could ask anything in the way she wanted to. That's all it was. That's all this was.
I admired her, and she pretty much reprimanded me. I read that you were upset about stories that you're overspending. She says to me, I hear you have Gucci flatware. I'm Oprah Winfrey, and I don't have Gucci flatware. First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware.
Oprah even asked a very
Had her
young
crying
Mary
on the
Ashley
show?
Wilson about rumors regarding their weight. She wasn't satisfied with the 17-year-old twins' response and decided to dig deeper.
The new rumor has recently surfaced has really upset you, right? You know, the one about eating.
People are gonna write what they want to write. Either you're too fat, you're too skinny, and people are just gonna write what they.
What size are you, by the way?
Size?
Yeah, I'm
really short.
And as the years went on, Oprah's empathy felt more like a tool to extract as much information and emotion as she could out of her guests. A great example of this would be her interview with Kelsey Grammer. In a short span of time, his grandfather died of cancer, his father was murdered, his brother died in a scuba diving accident, and his younger sister were dead. If anyone needed a gentle interview, this was the guy. However, Oprah seemed like it wasn't enough for him to share his story. It was like she wanted him to relive it all over again.
When my sister died, 2 years.
You say my sister died. Your sister was believed and hurt, which is a little different than just dying. You still miss her, I can see. Do you ever get over it?
No.
Why does she keep saying brutally murdered? I mean, geez, he knows that. He doesn't need to be reminded of it like that. But besides her fake empathy, Oprah had another secret weapon, and that was that she could alter or edit any interview if it didn't go her way. Rapper Ludacris claims that she used her power to manipulate their conversation before the public ever saw it. But first, you have to understand that Oprah simply does not like hip-hop.
I've been known for not being a big fan of rap music because of misogynist lyrics and because of the use of the N-word. You obviously feel differently. A little bit.
Therefore, her coverage of rappers and conversations with rappers should be viewed through a different lens, considering Oprah.
Bro, honestly speaking, shout out to Jay-Z and Rock Nation, man. Listen, they've been doing a phenomenal job of hiding the most secrets that I've seen anybody hide in my entire life, bro. This man right here has single-handedly ruined lives, man. Like, he has put so many people in compromising positions.
And then think about this right quick. She's sitting there just talking like, well, you know, I've been an advocate to not like this, and, you know, because they use this word or say this and that. Cool. All right, check out this. She's sitting there like she matters. And that's why in this world, things look so stupid to me. Like, things are just so worthless. So worthless, man. It's like nobody would even know her if nobody took time to know her. Nobody would care about her if no one took time to pay attention to her. Like, none of this would matter if none of us even gave a piece of a lick of lint thought about an Oprah show. But yet this woman has been praised by white women and liberals, majorities, to just tell you how she thinks so they can think like her, breathe like her, walk up, talk up like her. I'm just astounded by it, man. Talk show host turned into some billionaire lady off a talk show. Just raped the game.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, Nihilus, how could you support Jay-Z? Bro, shut up, bro.
Is extremely biased against them. But when Oprah had Ludacris on her show to promote his new movie Crash, she interrogated him as a rapper, even though he was there as an actor.
I was there for Crash, for the movie.
Yeah.
And basically she said something about not agreeing with my music, but she thought I did great in the movie. And of course, I was up there with the whole cast of Crash. And so I didn't necessarily feel like that needed to be said. You know, you didn't agree with my music. And even if you don't agree with certain songs I've made, say you don't agree with certain songs, don't say you just don't agree with all of my music. Right. So it was a lot of comments that actually basically she was able to say what she said, and then I had my rebuttal. And when I saw the final show, her comments were in there. Represented, but yours wasn't in there. And mine weren't in there, so it just looked like I kind of took it. Wow. Like, it was just quiet.
On one hand, Oprah offered something almost no one else could, a platform to millions of people. But she was the gatekeeper. You were stepping into her world under her rules. And when one person controls the questions, the framing, and the final edit, you were powerless. And with Oprah being the biggest show on television, making fun of her was one way that Mad TV's Deborah Wilson connected with some of Oprah's critics.
Today's show is about breathing.
Damn it! It's okay, girlfriend. I'm just gonna smile and think about the money. Let's make the loss of a loved one fun! Okay, here we go. Oh, yes. Come to mama. Who the hell is that on the monitor? Is that Cedric the Entertainer?
No, that's you.
Oh, girlfriend, look, I had a rough weekend, okay? I gained over 180 pounds. I told you to take me only with the fitting camera.
Now, you could think that this was done in poor taste, but others felt that Oprah had profited enough off others' trauma, and it was only a balancing act that she had some coming her way. Like this sketch making fun of Oprah dunking on someone else's eating disorder.
I would stuff myself with sweets.
I understand how you feel, Mary, because I too was a victim of overeating when I was just a child. It was my great shame for years.
Anyway, by the time I was 12, I had ballooned up to 300
that's
pounds.
Nothing. I ballooned past 300 pounds by the time I was 8. In school, high jumpers landed on me.
Okay, getting back to me. I started to diet like a fanatic. I tried every diet in the book.
Oh, yeah? Well, I tried every diet there was. Water, fruit, no carbohydrates, and I still kept gaining. Finally, I had my mouth welded shut.
Despite Mad TV pointing out the negative aspects of Oprah's authority, her ratings were through the roof. Her show drew 12 to 13 million viewers on an average weekday, so of course she wasn't going to change. In fact, she was doubling down, because she was arguably the most powerful person in television. In 1996, Winfrey began Oprah's Book Club, an on-air club designed to get the country excited about reading. After she would promote a book, they would start selling millions of copies. In 1997, she launched Oprah's Angel Network, a charity that raised more than $80 million from her viewers around the world. Winfrey also co-founded Oxygen Media LLC with Geraldine Laybourne, someone whose name was on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet log. Oxygen was a lifestyle and entertainment programming oriented towards women. And in '98, The Onion published a piece that exaggerated Oprah's influence to an absurd degree, but only because so many people already recognized the pattern. They took fake quotes from Oprah fans that said, "What book should I read? What low-fat lemon bread recipes should I use? What made-for-TV movies should I watch to give me a sense of empowerment?" asked Pamela Kolb. In these complex times, it can be frightening to have to go 3 weeks without any guidance from a television personality. But we must remain true to Oprah's vision. Our duty is to stay focused and on full alert until new orders are issued. But this doesn't really feel like an exaggeration. Oprah had a cult-like fan base of middle-aged moms all across the world. And because of that, she needed more content to supply her growing demand of emotional shock daytime TV. Her production company was looking to introduce another half self-help, half shock value show, kind of the classier cousin to Maury or Jerry Springer. And the perfect man for that was TV psychologist Dr. Phil. In the late 90s, Oprah was facing a massive lawsuit brought on by the Texas Beef Group. They started building a case after Oprah Winfrey aired an episode on her show called Dangerous Foods. She invited Howard Lyman, a cattle rancher turned vegetarian, onto her show to discuss controversial practices within the beef industry, including a process now banned in the US called rendering, which involves turning cow organs into feed for other cattle. She said because of this conversation, she would not eat another hamburger, and she had the type of influence where millions of people would just blindly listen to whatever she said. Beef prices went spiraling down after the episode, reaching a 10-year low, and the American beef industry felt that she defamed the entire industry. In the middle of her courtroom battle with Texas cattlemen, Oprah turned to Phil McGraw's trial consulting firm, Courtroom Sciences, Inc. With the help of Phil, Oprah won the case and came out on top.
I just want to thank everybody who supported that idea and the idea of free speech. I believe I'm one of those people who probably just took it for granted, but that will never be so again.
And although this case was weak to begin with, it was a wake-up call for Oprah. For years, she had relied on empathy and personal testimony without always challenging claims or bringing in opposing experts. This lawsuit made it clear that platforming anyone with a strong opinion on national television in front of millions of people without having experts properly challenge them can have real consequences, which is why it was perfect timing that she met Dr. Phil, because he was about to change Oprah's life forever. While people think of doctorate psychologists and therapists as helping with past trauma, Dr. Phil wasn't technically that kind of doctor. He helped prepare people like Oprah for trials, telling them how to speak and present themselves to look less guilty. He also assisted lawyers in jury selection, reading their statements and behavior before deciding whether or not to remove them from the jury. Phil earned a weekly segment on Oprah's show, because if you think about it, he was the ultimate asset to her. Dr. Phil's presence fundamentally changed how Oprah's conversations were received. For years, Oprah had been leading deep emotional discussions about family conflict, trauma, and personal responsibility, and Dr. Phil gave those same discussions a stamp of authority. Because he was introduced as an expert psychologist, his agreement with Oprah's instincts validated her. Dr. Phil reinforced the idea that Oprah wasn't just hosting these conversations, she was guiding people towards the truth. But the best part of Phil's addition to the Oprah Winfrey Show is that he also became a regular joke on Mad TV.
Thank you, Oprah, for creating the Dr. Phil Show. For without it, I would truly be somewhere in Texas, sitting in a trailer, drinking excessively, and touching my private parts while watching Mexican soap operas.
However, actual therapists became really concerned when McGraw's popularity led to Oprah's production company creating his very own syndicated talk show, Dr. Phil.
Catch me outside, how about that?
Personal or family problems came on stage to discuss their situation in front of a live audience.
Catch me outside.
When it aired in 2002,
how about that?
It had the biggest debut ratings of any new talk show since Oprah Winfrey in 1986, and it would remain in the top 2 daytime talk shows for more than a decade, meaning owned the 2 biggest daytime talk shows in the world.
That's crazy.
At the same time, she officially became a self-made billionaire. And despite the show's popularity, Phil McGraw has long been the most controversial mental health expert on TV. Professionals have criticized Dr. Phil's style of advice, describing it as overly simplistic, sometimes harmful, and not a substitute for licensed therapy. To make matters worse, Phil might have earned a PhD in clinical psychology, but he is no longer a licensed clinical psychologist and hasn't been since 2006. He stopped renewing his license after his TV career started to take off, but he didn't stop giving what appeared to be professional advice. After the show's peak, multiple former and current staffers alleged that the workplace fostered verbal abuse, fear, intimidation, and racism, and some claimed that guests were manipulated or treated unethically. The situation didn't get any better when it came to Phil's reputation for handling troubled adolescents. He has faced several allegations after referring children struggling with behavioral issues to Turnabout Ranch, a Utah-based residential treatment program. The facility has long faced allegations of sexual, physical, and psychological abuse. One former Dr. Phil guest filed a lawsuit claiming that age 17, she was assaulted by a staff member at the ranch. After report, the victim alleges she was punished with forced labor in freezing conditions, forced to sleep on a wooden plank, and subjected to other degrading treatment. Even Danielle Bergoli, or Bad Baby, publicly described harsh conditions during her stay, including limited showers, being prevented from sleeping or lying down for days, and deprivation of basic comforts or privacy. Dr. Phil has avoided addressing these allegations and continues to recommend the facility, all while Oprah Winfrey's production company has been funding and profiting from this show. But Dr. Phil isn't the only controversial figure Oprah has brought on to legitimize her brand. As her weight fluctuated throughout the years, she was always experimenting with diets and wanting the newest information about nutrition. Ever since her liquid diet and fat wagon stunt, a lot of her audience would tune in to see her transformations following a period of weight gain or weight loss. That's when Oprah introduced Dr. Oz. Later, this decision to work together made many people believe it was just a scheme to sell meaningless products, while Oprah got filthy rich. In 2003, Oprah herself appeared as a guest on his show, Second Opinion with Dr. Oz, and the two hit it off immediately, leading to Oz becoming a regular health expert on the world's most watched talk show. Just like Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz was technically an actual doctor. In fact, he actually appeared appeared to have better credentials than Phil and a real reason for being platformed. He got his MD from the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine in 1986. He completed a residency in general surgery and went on to become a cardiothoracic surgeon specializing in heart surgery. Over the years, he made more than 60 appearances on Oprah's show, covering topics ranging from heart disease, cholesterol, and blood pressure to preventative care. He also frequently offered sound dietary guidance, weight management tips, and insights into the health impacts of various foods. For a lot of fans, Dr. Oz was the perfect televised physician because he explained things in a very simple and understandable way.
Let's start with what should be in your refrigerator, all right?
Antioxidants.
Antioxidants.
What is an antioxidant? This apple was cut in half. And you'll notice this is turned brown. And
Yes.
this one hasn't because we took a little bit of lemon juice and sprinkled it on top.
So the lemon was like the antioxidant to the apple?
Exactly. Same thing happens to our skin, to our heart, to our eyes, all of our bodies.
Oprah presented Oz to her multi-million member audience
I like
as a
that.
miracle healer, capable
I
of
like
saving
that.
lives with his wealth
Get some
knowledge and
lemons.
love of fitness.
Okay, Dr. Oz, turn around here. On that wall, these are just some of the people who told us that something they heard you say on the show saved their lives. And a few of those grateful viewers wanted to be here today. So come on out, Catherine, Sandra, Brad, Karen,
Oh my
and Jay.
goodness.
Which is why in 2009, Dr. Oz got his own show co-produced by Oprah's company. And unlike other celebrity doctors, Oz was originally known for being against supplements and scams, often being praised for a more affordable approach to helping you lose weight.
Today at 4 on an all-new Dr. Oz, America's hidden health scandal. The supplements you have been taking may not be as safe as you think. Dr. Oz is uncovering the truth about the potential dangers in some of those supplements.
Unfortunately, this would change as the month.
Now, this is how they get you. Hit that like button, double tap that screen right now. This is how they get you again with the articulate way. But this is how they play both sides. L. Thomas in the building. This is how they play both sides. Both sides. Listen. They put Dr. Eyes on there, and now Dr. Oz gonna start talking right about what you should be doing. Okay? Even though they had already had Oprah in there doing what she wanted. Okay? Now follow me. They gave you the bad part about it. So now she like, I'm gonna give the good part about it. You understand? She done already been the villain, but now they like, okay, we finna come with this doctor and he finna start being who he is. And now that's gonna tell people how to live. And now they're gonna trust her even more. Yeah, they're gonna trust her even more. Cause now the way they done played it now is to where they control both narratives. They control the bad part of it, and then they got Dr. Phil over there to counsel you, and then they control the good part of your health, and they got Dr. Oz over there with his own TV show. And by the way, all of this is sponsored by Oprah Network. So when I seen that, I was like, oh man, oh yeah, that's definitely her network. But I'm looking at them and I'm like, yeah. They want to control the whole situation. The bad, the good, the ugly, and the great. And that's how the government been doing stuff. Control the bad, the good, and the ugly. Put the dope out there, let everybody get it and pop off, then have the police pull up and go bring it back. That's crazy work, fam. That's exactly what that is. And she knows the system. That's why I said once she implemented, think about it, I thought her and Dr. Oz was messing around the way they look. But in my mind, I'm like, Oprah, Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, and whoever else, whatever. It's some more I know in my mind of what I'm thinking about. But the way they doing it, the way they done did it, it's crazy work. And they know how far they done took it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're out of problem and a solution. You do 9/11, but then you come back talking about we finna go get Saddam Hussein. That's crazy to me, man. Because they're allowing it to go like that. Hit that like button up, tap that screen, and go.
Money started rolling in. His program slowly became more of an infomercial, promoting products rather than talking about practical solutions, like this green coffee bean extract that he marketed as a miracle in a bottle.
You may think magic is make-believe, but this little bean has scientists saying they found a magic weight loss cure for every body type. It's green coffee beans. And when turned into a supplement, this miracle pill can burn fat fast for anyone who wants to lose weight.
But this turned out to be completely false. The study that was often cited to support green coffee beans' miracle effect was later retracted due to flawed data. Years later, a senator publicly criticized Oz for using his show to market supplements, questioning why he would label them as miracles.
When you call a product a miracle and it's something you can buy and it's something that gives people false hope, I just don't understand why you need to go there.
My job, I feel, on the show is to be a cheerleader for the audience. And when they don't think they have hope, when they don't think they can make it happen, I want to look for any evidence that might be supportive to them.
Do you believe there's a magic weight loss cure out there?
If you're selling something because it's magical, no. If you're arguing that it's going to be like magic, if you stop eating carbohydrates, you're going to lose a lot of weight, that's a truthful statement. You may not agree with the flowery use of the word magic, but it is true that most people cutting out simple carbs will lose weight.
And while Dr.
Facts.
Oz was selling magical supplements to lose weight and help fight cancer, Oprah continued her own crusade for alternative healing methods.
I don't see what's wrong with that, to be honest.
Often without much evidence to really back the claims, especially when Oprah introduced a man who called himself...
Obviously, selling the green bean, as magical when it was false evidence, that's wrong, obviously. But if I say I have a magical weight loss plan, and it's literally you being a caloric deficit, in the gym 1 to 2 times a day, and then cut.
Unlike Dr. Oz, John claimed to be a Brazilian healer and spiritual medium, able to heal the spirit and the body at the same time. For decades, visitors would wait in long lines to meet him at the Casa de Loyola in Brazil. When their turn finally came, John would look at them briefly, often without asking questions, and pronounce the spirit of a deceased doctor or healer that was working through him that day. And of course, when people's trauma or pain did not go away, they weren't exactly convinced of his supernatural abilities.
This is who they flock to. He calls himself John of God, but his real name is John for real, a man who claims miracles. But what happens here is much less divine intervention than downright exploitation.
And did you feel anything at all after you had been in this man's presence?
No, nothing.
Any logical person would...
Bro, what did you think was gonna happen, bro? This is what I mean when I said earlier, people expect these things. Like, people expect so much from thin air, bro. It actually is starting to irritate me because I'm starting to realize how many people in this world expect everything from nothing. Not something from nothing. Not a few things from nothing. They expect everything that they ever desired from nothing.
Look at this as nothing more than a grift. Others might say, after the death of her father, Casey wondered if John of God could help heal her grief. The article was called Leap of Faith, Meet John of God, and it was covered on the Oprah Winfrey Show. If that wasn't strange enough, Oprah even visited the healer on Oprah's next chapter, traveling to Brazil to meet him in person. And once again, due to Oprah's massive platform of millions of people who will just listen to whatever she says, his appearances across her programs helped his healing center gain international attention, drawing thousands of visitors who trusted Oprah's coverage. However, it turns out John was exploiting his authority to vulnerable patients. More than 200 complaints poured in from 9 Brazilian states and 2 from overseas. And as a result, John of God had no other option but to surrender himself to the authorities. The number of allegations against him grew to nearly 600 women between 1986 and 2017. Now, on one hand, it's highly likely that Oprah had no idea that John of God was an absolute monster. She probably read the article and just believed that her team had done a thorough investigation before giving it the green light. On the other hand, I think you've now noticed a pattern of Oprah platforming very dangerous people. You'd think that after experiencing so many of these scandals, Oprah would be be cautious of who she endorsed by bringing on her show. But at this point, Oprah was simply too big to fail. In 2010, she consistently made the #1 spot on the Forbes list of the most powerful celebrities. If she made $77 million in 1 year, it was considered a bad year. And unfortunately, the richer she got, the more disconnected she became from reality. Like how she held massive giveaways that ended up costing her own guests a small fortune, or how she decided to tackle poverty and education in Africa only for her program to allegedly traumatize innocent children. Part of what made the Oprah Winfrey Show so famous was its large-scale giveaways to members of the live audience, which only grew her persona as a kind and charitable woman. The segment was called Oprah's Favorite Things, and instead of giving away cheap electronics, Winfrey would give away home renovations, wardrobe makeovers, group therapy retreats, or scholarships that could genuinely change someone's life. And every time the crowd absolutely lost their minds, something that was often made fun of by comedians.
The most expensive gift ever given away on Oprah's Favorite Things? A DVD handycam valued at over $900!
Everybody here gets humpback whales! You get a humpback whale, and you get a humpback whale.
But in typical Oprah fashion, to keep ratings up, she kept making them bigger and bigger, eventually giving every single person in the audience a brand new car.
All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
Oprah later looked back at the giveaway saying, "That was one of the happiest days of my life. It delights me. It makes me so happy to see other people be happy and to be able to do that. That's one of the great joys of my life."
That's a
the
fact.
segment went down as one of the greatest talk show moments in history, inspiring other hosts to attempt large-scale giveaways. However, for some people, being handed a new car was actually a massive liability. While the show covered sales tax and registration for all 267 cars, it didn't. However, for some people...
All right, open your boxes.
And you get a humpback whale.
But in typical Oprah fashion, to keep ratings up, she kept making them bigger and bigger, eventually giving every single person in the audience a brand new car.
All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
Oprah later looked back at the giveaway saying, "That was one of the..."
Oh, Gil opened up her box and was like, "Oh no, oh my God, you're lying. Oh my God, no, you're lying. And I tell me." The black girl opened up her box. She said, "No, B, I know you lying." She like, "Oh my God." She had to stand up and say, "You lying, B. You lying, mother. Who keys is these? Because why they in my box giving them to me?" People that died, like, what? Wait a minute, it wasn't like, oh my God. Like, you ain't got no car out there already. You're like, oh my God, oh God, oh God, Jesus, Lord Jesus, I prayed about it, Lord Jesus. Oh God, I can't believe people that are crying, falling out all over the, oh God, I need that car, Jesus. Oh, I need it. She like, girl, she only, and then it's people in there crying. She over here next to her. She don't even know her. She black. She don't even. She. I got her. She just hugging her. You don't even know, fam. You just grab her, hug her, cause Oprah just made your life come true. So you like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. People that hugging people. Stanky shoulder, stanky arm, all that. Shirt ain't worn. People that going crazy. They go, oh God. And see, but again, that wasn't real. That wasn't nothing but a tax write-off for her to get that money back. So, you know, when you like, because if you look at her face when she opened up the box, she like, oh, everybody open their boxes. Her face ain't even smiling. She just like, okay. Because see, at that point, Oprah is telling people what to do. She ain't asking. She's telling you what to do. Today's episode, we talking about husbands and wives. And she knows she got nothing but wives in the crowd. And she telling all the wives, when you go home and fix your husband something to eat. Get him a nice shower, and if he don't give you some of that by the end of the night, don't get him nothing, be done with him tomorrow. And every white woman, black woman went home and did just that. She got to that point where she's telling people what to do now. And when you get to that point, fam, it's everything, it's over. At that point, the job is done. You've done your job. And that's what things got to. And it got to a point to where it was like, I'm gonna tell y'all how to live. I'm gonna tell y'all what to do while living. And listen to me, because if you don't listen to me, you won't know what to do with your life. And that is a big foolish situation when you can just at some point make people feel like without you they can't live. But that's also a very strong tactic on how to live, because the value of you is shown by what you do. And I don't care what nobody say, it's what you do that shows the value of you. The value of you shown is the value of you. And I think this is just diabolical what Oprah did here and knew what to do to keep these people in tune.
The happiest days of my life. It delights me. It makes me so happy to see other people be happy and to be able to do that. That's one of the great joys of my life.
That's a
this
fact.
Went down as one of the greatest talk show moments in history, inspiring other hosts to attempt large-scale giveaways. However, for some people, being handed a new car was actually a massive liability. While the show covered sales tax and registration for all 267 cars, it didn't pay the gift tax. Audience members were suddenly expected to pay $7,000 depending on their tax bracket. The show's producer said it was devastating after because gift tax is a thing, and it's always a complicated thing when you're giving stuff away. But we paid for the sales tax and the registration for each car, and we told the audience after if they didn't want to have to pay a gift tax, they could actually take cash for the car. And because we didn't pay the gift tax, people complained to the press, and that was devastating. Now, of course, being upset...
Bro, this is what I mean, bro. Oh my... Bro, it's a third example in the same video. How could you be given a car and then complain about it, bro? Bro, it's a wicked world that we live in. So he gave you a car, had to pay $7,000 for the gift tax. That's not something that you can change. Okay, cool. Instead of the car, here's the money for the car. In other words, you can take that money and go buy it yourself. And you still complain? You can't please anybody, bro. This is a world where people just can't be pleased. I don't get this shit.
Oprah over this.
I don't get it, bro.
It's a little wild.
I don't get it.
It's a generous gift, and it's even more generous to give people the alternative of just receiving cash. But it was showing a pattern that Oprah was sort of detached from regular people. She didn't appear to understand that just throwing money around doesn't solve problems. In fact, it can actually create more problems. She had to learn this the hard way when she started a school in South Africa, but things got so much darker than she ever could have imagined. Earlier in her career, Oprah met with South African President Nelson Mandela to discuss strategies for addressing poverty. During her stay at the Mandela's home, she expressed her belief that education is key to leveling the playing field and shared her dream to build a school for girls in their country. 5 years later, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls opened its doors. She poured $40 million into the 28-building campus for poor and disadvantaged girls.
It can be a place of learning for them. We have to have a theater because this is a school for leaders. In order to be a leader, you have to have a voice. In order to have a voice, you need oration. So the idea for the school came about based on what I felt would be an honor for the African girls.
And all this for free. Free uniforms, free books, free meals. Everything is free at Oprah School.
Initially, she was criticized for being too extravagant. Critics questioned whether high thread count sheets in the dormitory.
You can't win, bro. You can't win, bro. I'm done. Like, I'm done, bro. I can't do this, y'all. Like, it's starting to piss me off. Bro, this world, bro. You can't do anything right, bro. She went to Africa. Everybody always complains. And I'm not defending Oprah. I'm not defending Oprah at all, bringing something to light. Everyone always complains. Oh gosh, these millionaires and billionaires. Meanwhile, there are people starving all over the world, and you just have all this money, and you. Okay, cool. Now you have a billionaire giving a $40 million African school, and she's wrong for that too. So if she didn't do it, she's wrong. And now that she did do it, she's wrong. How do you win? How do you win? And this is what makes me realize, bro. This is what makes me realize. If you're going to live your life trying to appeal to other people, it's not a life worth living, bro. Do what makes you happy. And I mean that. It's up to you to decide if you want to live in alignment with the God, if you want to live in alignment with scripture, if you want to live in alignment with morals, that's up to you. Do whatever you want, because you can't please anybody, bro. You can't. Whatever you do is going to offend somebody, so just do what you want, bro. Honestly. But look, I'm going to end this video here. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe. If you did get the keyword for the cash giveaway, then leave it in the comments down below. And I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace. All right, guys. So this month, I'm going to be...
Hearing the person tell you to do what you want is okay. But hearing him say do what you want, but finding foundation in what you're doing and finding morale in what you're doing, understand that there are tasks and assignments that come with having fundamentals. Like, nobody talks about fundamentals of living. Nobody even knows how to survive. Can you survive without the money? Can you survive without the fame? Can you survive without the bag? Like, there's beauty in the struggle. I don't think people understand that. Like, I'm talking to you right now. I'm tired. And it's a struggle, but it's beauty in the struggle. It's beauty in this. It's family here. It's no filters. We learning. We understanding. We seeing the world as it is, and we being enlightened, informing, understanding, being aware every day more and more. But even in my tired, even in my lie, even in my eyes closed, and even in my doze, there's beauty in this struggle right now. Learning what we learn and doing it with my family, who I love, each and every one of my family members. You know who I love here. You know I love you, Brandy. I love within. You know I love you. You know what it is, Chris. Nothing but love, partner. Lori, you know you day one love of my heart. You understand me? Sherry Ann, you know I love you. But it's just the fact, it's beauty in the struggle. And I don't think people understand why they still ugly. They ain't been through nothing. Tell somebody it's beauty in the struggle. And that's why you still ugly, because you ain't been through nothing. Say it again for somebody that just got enlightened right now. There is beauty in the struggle, and because you ain't been through shit, you still ugly. Tell somebody you in the way. Tell somebody to tell them articulate talkers to shh. Tone it down. Tell somebody it's beauty in the struggle. And because you ain't been through nothing, you still ugly. The fire that we go through will burn the weakness off of you. Let me say that again. The fire that you go through will burn the weakness off you. Repetition don't do nothing but make layers. The fire that you go through will burn it off you. Everybody keep going around under, ignoring, not even going through nothing. That's why they ain't got nothing. That's why they ain't been through nothing. That's why they can't tell you nothing. Because they keep running from what's there. They running from the struggle. And I'm sorry that the struggle is a part of life. It's a part of your future. It was part of your past, but you ran from it. So now you got to face it in the future to get where you're going. See, a lot of us had a situation that we could have faced the struggle early and got past it. And nothing but success in the future. But you kept running from it. And at some point, you're going to see it. In your way, you're going to see the struggle. And that's for your growth. That's for the beauty. That's for you to see. You're prolonging your struggle. You're prolonging your greatness. You're prolonging your growth. You're prolonging the new you. You're scared to go through the fire to get that weakness up off you. You're scared to go through the fire to burn that ignorance off you. You're scared to go through the fire to get that immaturity off you. Somebody tell somebody, thank God for the struggle. Tell somebody there's beauty in the struggle, and because you ain't been through nothing, you still ugly. Tell somebody you in the way. Don't forget to tell them articulate talkers to shh. As always, fam, you know the deal. You know the reason, and one reason is Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. with your boy Dilla T and my fam right here with no filters. As always, fam, I truly appreciate each and every one of y'all pulling up, coming in, making sure that you understand that we're here to bring light to darkness, inform and understanding, and being aware that if it walk like a, talk like a, you know what it is. Truly appreciate each and every one of you all, fam, taking your time out to give me your attention, to bring me your love, to give me your awareness, to hit that like button, double tapping the screen, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, I truly appreciate you making sure that when you come in, you love someone, and making sure that you got love for them because they love you. I truly appreciate you taking time out on the super chat and the cash app. Whatever you do, whatever you do, whatever you've done, thank you so much for your love and for your support. Whatever you do for $1 or $2, it don't matter. Whatever that change is, it don't matter. It goes a long way. It supports. It makes people understand that No Filters is alive and well, and that we're here to reach out and touch somebody's hand to make the world a better place if we can. And that's all it takes, fam. As always, I truly appreciate each and every one of you pulling up, hitting the comments, making sure that you subscribe to the channel, not missing an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Never forget to get you something to eat. Never forget to get you something to drink. And never forget to get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you see the title, fam. You in here with your boy Dilla T. Never forget. My family. And this is No Filters. Good night, family. Have an amazing weekend. Please be safe. God bless.